Chapter 1793. Male sign Sima Yue went to the next room, set up the enchantment, got into the spirit pagoda, and began to study the poison in his body. Whenever this happened, she was very glad that she had learned a lot of things about the ghost world because of her mother. She was studying poison in the spirit pagoda, and Murong Lin was guarding Murong Hui in the room. Seeing the silver needles on his body, and then looking at the enchantment she had arranged, his heart was filled with emotion. Master, don't look at how little spiritual power Miss has, but the enchantment she has arranged, even I can't break it so easily. It's really exquisite. He murmured, Miss can do so many things at such a young age, but Princess Luo really gave birth to a good daughter. A few hours later, Sima Yue came out, took out a list of medicinal materials and gave it to Murong Hui and said, You find the things on it for me by tomorrow morning at the latest. Murong Lin took it and looked at it and said, These medicinal materials are not very rare. Most of them are available in the house. The others need to be found outside, so it may take a little longer. But they should be found tonight. Well, I'll keep watch here. You can ask someone to do it. Sima Yue said. Murong Lin saluted and went down. The sooner these medicinal materials were delivered, the sooner Murong Hui's poison could be cured. Sima Yue leaned against the head of the bed and dozed off. It's been a few days in the spirit pagoda, and she hasn't rested, and now she's a little tired. When she finds the medicinal materials, she has to refine pills, so she must maintain her spiritual power. When Murong Lin prepared the medicinal materials and came in, he saw her leaning against the head of the bed with her eyes closed. He looked at her with some heartache. Was she tired before? Sima Yue felt someone come in, opened her eyes and asked, Okay? Yes. Sima Yue checked Murong Hui's pulse and made sure that his condition was stable. Then she got up and said to Murong Lin, Is there anyone 100% reliable? 100% reliable? Murong Lin was stunned and didn't understand why she said that. I don't think this time it's so simple. I don't trust the people in the house. I need to find someone 100% reliable to guard. Sima Yue said. I'll guard the master. Murong Lin said. Sima Yue shook her head. I need your help with what I'm going to do later. Someone I trust 100% must be very strong. It's hard to confirm in such a short time. Murong Lin saw that Sima Yue's expression was so dignified, and he also noticed the strangeness. In order to ensure the safety of Murong Hui, this ordinary person definitely can't do it. I'll keep watch. A short figure walked out of the door. The enchantment set up by Sima Yue did not obstruct him. His strength was still too low. Sima Yue looked at the old man. Wasn't he the old man she had seen in the library? Ancestor. Murong Lin saluted him. Sima Yue was not surprised. She had already guessed his identity. Go and do whatever you want to do. Leave this place to me. The little old man said to the two of them. Then I'll have to trouble you, ancestor. Don't let anyone come near here. Uncle Lin, come with me. Sima Yue took Murong Lin to the next room, took out a furnace and said, I'll refine the detoxification medicinal pill in a while. You stay here. When I need you to inject spiritual power, you do as I say. My spiritual power is too little to refine such a high-level medicinal pill. Murong Lin didn't expect that Sima Yue called him here for this and responded, Okay. Sima Yue didn't talk much nonsense. She took out a furnace and the medicinal materials he had prepared, and began to skillfully refine them. Murong Lin also studied alchemy for a period of time. Sima Yue's movements were very skilled at first glance. Could even be said that she was at the master level. When refining the medicinal materials, Sima Yue made a few mistakes in the middle, and then the rest were completed smoothly. It's my first time refining medicinal materials from the ghost realm. I'm not familiar with it. Sima Yue said, Next I'll start to condense the pill. She didn't have her own flame yet. The previous flames couldn't be used now, so she could only borrow external flames. It was very difficult to operate and she didn't succeed 3 times in a row. She took a deep breath and secretly told herself not to worry. She picked up the last refined essence and began to refine the pill. Murong Lin was secretly surprised when he saw her adjusting her state. He kept looking at her and found that because she was not familiar with the ghost realm's medicinal pills, she didn't grasp it well, causing her to fail several times. Her mood was inevitably a little impetuous. But he didn't expect that she would calm herself down again in less than a minute. This temperament was really not something that ordinary people had. After a while, he suddenly heard her instructions, asking him to inject spiritual power into it. He immediately walked to the side of the furnace and injected his spiritual power into it. Sima Yue controlled the situation in the furnace and told Murong Lin what to do. Although the whole process was very difficult, it was considered a success. She went up and opened the furnace. Seeing the strangely shaped medicinal pills inside, she breathed a sigh of relief. Let's try the effect of this medicinal pill. The two went back and saw the little old man's inquiring eyes. They nodded and came to Murong Hui's bedside and fed him the medicinal pill. It will take half an hour for this medicinal pill to work. Murong Lin felt that every minute of this half hour was like a year. It wasn't until half an hour later that Sima Yue went up to check Murong Hui's pulse and said that he had been detoxified, that his hanging heart was completely relieved. Master is finally fine. He looked at Sima Yue happily and felt that she really understood everything. Don't be happy too early, Sima Yue said as she pulled out the silver needles. Now his poison has been detoxified. His injuries are still very serious. A little carelessness and he may wake up. But at least now he has been detoxified, and it can be regarded as a big step forward. Murong Lin now believed in her medical skills. Don't spread the news of father's detoxification for the time being, Sima Yue said. Don't show a very excited look when you go outside. Little girl, what do you want to do? The little old man asked. I suspect that father's incident this time should be caused by a traitor in the Duke's mansion. I haven't thought about what to do next, but I think it's better than saying it out loud. Once the people outside know about father's situation, we will be in a passive position, Sima Yue said. Well, what Sheer said is right. You just tell the public that the Duke's situation is still very bad and no one is allowed to disturb him. The little old man ordered. Do you have anyone you suspect? Sima Yue glanced at him and said faintly, if I have someone I suspect, I won't let you keep it secret but let you catch them. However, I don't think it will take long for those people to jump out by themselves. Chapter 1794. The news that Murong Hui was poisoned and could not stop bleeding quickly spread throughout Liao City, and the entire Duke mansion was shrouded in dark clouds. In those 2 days, bowls of blood-replenishing soup were sent in and basins of blood were brought out. The people outside couldn't get in, and they were anxious about the situation inside. But Sima Yue ordered that no one was allowed to go in, and they couldn't know the specific situation inside. In the past, although Murong Shi was favored by Murong Hui, her status in the city lord mansion was not high, and many people would not take her words to heart. But this time was different. The chief butler Murong Lin personally executed the order, and the elders were personally in charge and no one dared to disobey her orders. In Murong Hui's room, there was no anxious atmosphere like outside, but it was very relaxed and comfortable. Murong Hui and the little old man were playing chess on the bed, Murong Lin was watching by the bed, and Sima Yue was fiddling with medicinal materials. She cut the medicinal materials sent in from outside, extracted the essence and then put them in a bowl on the ground. Little Black on the ground sniffed and lazily closed his eyes. If you don't drink, go back, Sima Yue threatened. Little Black whimpered in protest, but still obediently drank all of it. In order to express its emotions, it ate the entire bowl and even took a few bites of it. The movement here attracted the attention of the other 3 people. Seeing Little Black's aggrieved appearance, they all smiled and shook their heads. He doesn't want to drink, don't force him, the little old man defended. Sima Yue continued to fiddle with the medicinal materials, and said without raising her head, these medicinal materials have to be tried, why don't you try it? The little old man looked at the medicinal materials in her hand and shook his head, you'd better let your puppy try it for you. Little Black opened his eyes and glared at him, then closed them helplessly. Murong Hui was about to play chess when he heard that she was going to study those medicinal materials, and said, how long do I have to stay here? Father, your injury hasn't healed yet, you have to stay for at least 3 or 5 days. Sima Yue said, when I think about it, Uncle Lin has already found out the mole. Do you really think that this is something done by the mole? The little old man asked. I don't believe in coincidences. Too many coincidences come together, that is an ulterior motive. Sima Yue said, why did father encounter so many mythological beasts on his way back? Why is old Fu the only one who can cure him? Why was he poisoned by this kind of poison that won't be discovered? Moreover, the person who poisoned father would definitely be able to get close to him. With all these factors added together, it's hard not to be suspicious. Then who do you think this mole is? Murong Hui asked. I'm really curious, how many things do you know? The little old man said, medicine, alchemy, array, what else do you know? That's all I know. Sima Yue said, I just happened to learn a little before. The 3 of them looked at her, obviously no one believed her. By the way, father, Did you go out this time to deal with the matter of the mineral vein? Is there a hidden mineral vein? Sima Yue asked. Originally, I wanted to deal with this matter, but now it seems that this matter should be fake news released by others. Fake. Sima Yue felt that it was unbelievable. Because it's not just me, several families are involved in this matter, but no one has really found the mineral vein. Murong Hui explained, the surrounding mountains have been searched by us, but we haven't found anything. In addition, I was schemed against, so I think this news should be fake. It was released to lure me into a trap. What if that news is true? Sima Yue asked. Really? Why do you think so? Murong Hui asked. Because I don't think the person who set the trap should release this news out of thin air. If the news is too fake, you can't believe it. Sima Yue didn't say me air, and thought of such an excuse, which was also reasonable. You're right. Murong Hui also thought so. The news we got before is indeed true. Otherwise, I wouldn't have rushed over with people. But after I got there, I couldn't find it for a long time, so I thought the news was fake. But after listening to your analysis, I think it makes sense. Father, I have some research on finding mineral veins. Why don't we wait for this matter to be over and I'll look for it with you? After Sima Yue finished speaking, she found that they were all staring at her and asked, What's wrong? You know how to find mineral veins? Murong Lin asked in surprise. A little. Sima Yue said, Although I don't understand it very well, one more person has one more strength, maybe they can help something. What you said is true. Then you can go with me. Murong Hui agreed. The more he got along with Sima Yue, the more he felt that she was very capable, and maybe she could really help him find mineral veins. Recently, the situation in Vast Region has been very serious. Although he is deeply loved by Wang Ye, the heart conditions in Vast Region are not enough. It is of great significance to find mineral veins for both Vast Region and Wang Ye. Someone is coming. The little old man threw the chess piece in his hand into the chess box. Really, so many days have come and I have wasted so much time. Miss, you and Master stay in the room, those people won't break in. Murong Lin said. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. With her strength, she would not rush to die. Murong Lin and the little old man went out. She heard the sound of questioning and fighting outside in the room, and turned to look at Murong Hui. Murong Hui was still studying the chess game on the table, and he was not worried about the situation outside at all. It seemed that he had expected today's situation. She pouted. They obviously had an arrangement like this. Then they asked her like that just now. Didn't they just want to test her? Outside, the second butler surrounded the whole yard with people. For his appearance, Murong Lin and the others were not surprised at all, and they didn't even question him, and the two sides started fighting directly. Father, do you know it's the second butler? Sima Yue asked. I know. There are only a few people who can know my whereabouts so clearly. The others followed me to Eternal Brilliant City before coming back. The only one who can betray me is him. Then do you know who is behind him? Sima Yue asked again. Chapter 1795. Being able to become the second butler of the Duke Manor shows that he was still trusted by Murong Hui before. In the past few decades when he went to Eternal Brilliant City, he was instigated by others, which shows that the other party still has some ability. I have a little idea. Murong Hui didn't intend to elaborate. She still didn't want to know so much about those conspiracies. When Sima Yue heard him say this, she knew that he had a little idea in his heart, so she stopped asking and continued to study the medicinal materials in front of her. Woof woof woof, Xiaohei got up from the ground and bit the corner of her skirt. No, it's too dangerous outside, you can't go out. Be good, come and eat this. Woof woof woof, the protest is invalid. Xiaohei cried silently in his heart. When Murong Hui finished playing the game of chess, all the medicinal materials in front of Sima Yue were refined and poured into Xiaohei's mouth, and the battle outside was over. She got up and patted Xiaohei's head, and Xiaohei immediately became energetic. Dad, I won't participate in the rest of the matter. When you set off to find the mineral vein, remember to inform me. Okay. Thanks to you this time. Murong Hui said gratefully. Without her he would have bled to death. Sima Yue smiled and walked out with Xiaohei. There was black blood everywhere outside, emitting a foul smell. Woof woof woof, it's really smelly. Woof woof woof, well, I won't let you eat so many medicinal materials later. Woof woof woof, I know, I won't let you eat so many medicinal materials next time. Alas, if little Seven was here he would definitely not dislike it. Woof woof woof, there were still guards in the yard cleaning up the mess. When they heard the conversation between one person and one dog, they all glanced at her subconsciously. They all heard the conversation between Murong Lin and the second butler before. This time, thanks to her medical skills and strategies, the consequences would be unimaginable. Now no one dared to despise this young lady anymore. In the next few days, Murong-hui has been dealing with the aftermath of this matter. He appeared in front of everyone safe and sound, and the dark clouds covering the Duke Manor completely dispersed. And because of Murong-hui's arrangement, except for the people of the Duke Manor, no one else knew that the Duke Manor had experienced such a dangerous thing, let alone that she had resolved this crisis. On this day the regional king's manor welcomed an old man. It was Elder Fu who had disappeared previously. When old Fu saw Murong-hui he first apologized. "Duke, I was actually led out of the city by someone. When you needed me the most, I was not in the city and let you fall into danger." "I'm sorry, Duke." Murong-hui helped him up and said, "You can't blame old Master Fu for this. You don't have to blame yourself. I heard that the B*Tsich was poisoned and those doctors were helpless. I wonder who saved you in the end?" Old Fu asked. The smile on Murong-hui's face was stiff for a moment, but it was fleeting and was not seen by old Master Fu. He smiled and said, "Actually, I wasn't poisoned. That's just a false rumor." "You weren't poisoned?" Old Master Fu was stunned. "Then why did you send someone to look for me?" "It's just that those external injuries looked very serious, so I wanted to ask old Master Fu to come and see me." Murong-hui explained, "Those people must have sent the wrong message when they went to pass on the news. Otherwise, without old Master Fu, how could I live?" "You really weren't poisoned?" Old Master Fu still didn't believe it. "Yes." Murong-hui nodded affirmatively. "Why, old Master Fu seems to care about my poisoning." "I do care about it." Old Master Fu admitted, "I heard about it when I returned to the city. I have been blaming myself for not being able to help the city lord. Now that I know you are not poisoned at all, I am relieved." "Thank you for your concern, old Master Fu. Since the Duke is fine, then I won't bother you anymore." After old Master Fu said a few polite words, the guard sent him out. Murong-hui looked at old Master Fu's eyes and gradually became cold, and said to Murong-lin on the side, "Send someone to check who he has been in contact with recently. In addition, send someone to follow him and pay close attention to his actions." "Yes, master." Murong-lin took the order and left. "Father, what is the origin of this old Master Fu?" Sima Yue came out of another door and asked. Before old Master Fu came, Sima Yue was discussing with Murong-hui about finding the mineral lode. When she heard that old Master Fu came, she went inside and temporarily avoided him. She didn't expect to hear such a thing. Judging from what old Master Fu said just now, his reaction to Murong-hui not being poisoned was too strange, which made people smell something abnormal. Old Master Fu used to be an imperial physician in the palace. For some reason he left the palace and went to Liao City. He is the teacher of the little prince, so his status is high. Even Wang Ye appreciated his medical skills, and others admired him even more. Murong-hui explained to her. "Is it the little prince who wants to kill father?" Sima Yue said. "No." Murong-hui said, "The little prince is Wang Ye's most valued child, and he has been determined to be the next Wang Ye. I am loyal to Wang Ye, so I have no conflict of interest with him." "So you're saying that someone else bribed Elder Fu in an attempt to cut you, a person who doesn't know what's good for him?" Sima Yu guessed. "The prince has so many sons, who is the most likely?" "There are several possibilities." Murong-hui said, "As for who is the most suspicious, the one who is the most jealous of the throne is not necessarily the most suspicious." Sima Yue agreed. "Some people usually seem to be low-key, but people say that dogs that bite don't bark. Who knows if they have done anything secretly?" "Father, since this old Master Fu is the little prince's teacher, you can't kill him directly. Otherwise, even if he is a traitor, it will leave a knot in the little prince's heart. When there is conclusive evidence, tell the little prince." Sima Yue suggested. Being betrayed, it was better to let him solve this matter himself. Murong-hui nodded. "I plan to do so too." "Then when are we going to find the mineral lode?" she asked. "Tomorrow after." "Father, if we find the mineral lode, let me open up the potential." "You." "Well, I haven't seen the mineral lode of the ghost world yet, and I want to study it. If I can't do it, you can let the Seeker Spirit Master do it, okay?" Murong-hui was a little worried that she would mess up the potential and destroy the mineral lode, but he only hesitated for a few seconds before agreeing. "If you want to go, then go, but don't damage the mineral lode," he told her. "Thank you, father. Then I will go back and prepare." Sima Yue finished speaking and left happily. Murong-hui looked at her cheerful back and laughed. She said it as if she can really find the mineral lode. But why did he believe her? Chapter 1796. Early the next morning, Sima Yue packed up her things and ran over. Muronghui saw her like this and looked at her dotingly. Are you all ready? I don't have anything to prepare, I just need to go. Father, are you all ready? If you are, we can set off. Sima Yue said with a smile. Woof woof woof. Xiao He barked twice on the side, reminding her not to forget him. I know. You this guy, if you don't obey me after going out, I won't take you out in the future, you know? Sima Yue threatened. Since she found out that Xiao He couldn't force him to return to the spirit pagoda, she was particularly helpless. Fortunately, this guy's intelligence hasn't recovered much, and he didn't realize this, otherwise he would be even crazier. Thinking of Xiao He's identity, she sighed in her heart. Such a mighty guy, now it has become like this, it's also very miserable. But if people knew its identity, then the miserable person would probably be her. It's ready, let's go. Muronghui didn't know why Sima Yue would spoil this dog so much, but the spirit beasts around her should have special abilities. He heard that her spirit beasts in the human world were very powerful. Although he was intercepted halfway last time, he still didn't bring many people with him on this trip. The housekeeper Murong Lin stayed in the Duke's mansion to deal with things, so she was not familiar with the people who followed him. They left Vast City, although they were very low-key, many people still got the news. He was injured last time but he still went out this time. Could it be that the news about the mineral veins was true? As a result, many people followed suit. When Emoji got the news, he was drinking tea with Yuan Yen in the tea house. What news made you look at it for so long? Yuan Yen asked. Murong she followed Murong Hui out of the city. Emoji put the note on the table. Yuan Yen saw the words on the small note and saw the 3 words Murong Shi at once. What's so strange about her going out of the city? Yuan Yen took a sip of tea to make himself look more natural. Emoji glanced at him and said, she went to Moon Creek Valley. Moon Creek Valley? It's very dangerous there. Yuan Yen frowned. Well, it is very dangerous. But what? Murong Hui was killed when he came back from Moon Creek Valley. Now they are still looking in that direction. I don't know what will happen. Since you know the danger, why do you still want to go? Yuan Yan's eyes showed a trace of worry. Why would his father take her there? He's injured himself and she doesn't have the strength. You are concerned about her safety. Emoji said affirmatively. No, I'm just curious. Yuan Yin said, let's go to Moon Creek Valley too, maybe we can find what I want there. Where do you think it is? Maybe. Yuan Yin said, we have been looking for it in the city for so long, but we haven't found it. It's time to look outside the city. You agreed? Then let's also go to Moon Creek Valley. Maybe we can even know what made Murong Hui so obsessed with that place. You're the young master of the Yuan family, and I'm only here to help you. If you want to go, then let's go. Let's go then. Soon after, the 2 of them left the tea house without bringing any guards with them. In the Dong family, Dong Qilian also received the news. You went to Moon Creek Valley? She looked at the person on the ground and asked. Yes. Moon Creek Valley, it's very dangerous there. Have you found out the source of that dog? This subordinate is incompetent, I can't find any news. The person kneeling on the ground lowered his head, not knowing what kind of punishment he would receive. If you can't find it, then forget it. Take someone there and be sure to keep her life in Moon Creek Valley for me. If you can't take her down, then leave yourself there too. Dong Qilian said viciously. Yes, miss. Go down. Dong Qilian waved her hand. Miss, there is one more thing. This subordinate found that the young master of the Yuan family also followed. What did you say? Dong Qilian looked at him in shock. Yuan Yin also went to Moon Creek Valley? Are you sure? When this subordinate came back, I saw him leaving in that direction with a person. As for whether he went to Moon Creek Valley, this subordinate is not sure. Dong Qilian was puzzled. This Moon Creek Valley is so dangerous, what is he doing there? I think I probably know why. Dong Qishuang came in from the outside and said, Sister, I just heard father and the others say that there may be mineral veins in Moon Creek Valley. There are mineral veins? How do you know? I just heard father and the others say that they are all rushing over now. I said I wanted to go, but he didn't take me. Dong Qishuang said, Sister, why don't we go and have a look? I heard that a lot of people have already rushed there. It must be very lively. Dong Qilian didn't speak. Dong Qishuang thought she was unwilling and pleaded, Sister, don't you like Yuan Yin? How do you know what he is going to do if you don't go? What if there is something? You go down first and do what I told you. She waved her hand and the person on the ground got up and left. Sister, shall we go? Since you think so, let's go and have a look. But let's make it clear first, if you are not obedient when you go there, I will immediately send you back. Dong Qilian said. Sister, when did people stop talking? Okay, let's go, otherwise we won't be able to keep up with them. Dong Qishuang said anxiously. You little girl, why are you in such a hurry? Although Dong Qilian was talking about her, her movements were not slow at all, and the two quickly left with the guards. Xiao family Xiao Ruobai had just come out of seclusion and went to share the news of her advancement with her grandfather. She heard that Sima Yue had gone to Moon Creek Valley, and the Xiao family also planned to send someone to take a look, so she immediately begged to take her there. Xiao family's patriarch couldn't resist her request and had to take her with him. The movement in Vast City quickly reached Murong Hui's hands. Sima Yue looked at him from the side and asked curiously, Father, why do you want those people to know? It's time to clean up the forces in Vast City. Murong Hui said, Are you worried? I'm not worried. I think Father dares to do this, so naturally he is prepared. Sima Yue said, I'm just wondering if they will hinder our plan if they come here. There are no mineral veins in Moon Creek Valley at all. Murong Hui said, When these people are solved, we will look for them again. Sima Yue was startled. Father, how do you know that there are no mineral veins in Moon Creek Valley? We have searched here several times but we haven't found it. So it shouldn't be here. Murong Hui said. Sima Yue's mouth twitched. It turned out that his plan was based on this guess. Father, the mineral veins are indeed in Moon Creek Valley. I feel the aura of the mineral veins. Murong Hui was stunned. Chapter 1797. The mineral lode is in Moon Creek Valley, are you sure? Murong Hui asked. Sima Yue nodded, I feel it. It should be here. In fact, it was not she who felt it, but Mi-Er felt it, but she couldn't expose him now, so she could only say it was herself. If what you said is true, then our previous plan will have to be changed. Murong Hui did not doubt her words. You rest first, I'll discuss it with them. Sima Yue did not stop him because in this way their previous plan would be disrupted, and the mineral lode might be taken by others first. So Murong, she was still very happy with his unreserved trust. She wanted to tell Murong Hui that without her, no one else could find the mineral lode, but he had already left quickly. Besides, this would expose Mi-Er, so she didn't stop him in the end. A few days later they came to Moon Creek Valley, and Sima Yue found that it was really a good place to set up a trap. Moon Creek Valley was dozens of kilometers long, with cliffs on both sides towering into the clouds and mountains on both sides. If they set up a trap here, it was easy for people to be hooked. As soon as she saw the terrain, she thought of a way to set up a trap. She hurriedly ran to find Murong Hui and told him about her ideas. Murong Hui and the two aides around him looked at her in surprise. Why, do you think this method is not feasible? Sima Yue looked at the three people and asked. She had tried this method many times so it couldn't be used in the ghost realm, right? Miss said that the array is matched with poison. Your method is really good. But we don't have this condition now. One of the aides said, We don't have so many array stones, nor do we have the kind of poison you said. It doesn't matter, I have it all. Sima Yue laughed. As long as there was no problem with this method, it was fine. As for those things, they were all things she had prepared before, and she had also prepared a lot after arriving in the ghost realm. Everyone, Miss, why are you so full of deceptive things now? This made them, who were familiar with Murong Shi, a little unacceptable. Since you have these, then let's do it. Murong said, They will catch up in half a day, can you finish it? No problem. Sima Yue said confidently. Setting up an illusion array was not as difficult as setting up the spirit gathering array before. She could still do it. Then I'll leave it to you. Father, I need a flying beast. In order to set up a large illusion array, she needed to observe the terrain from the air. Now that she couldn't fly, it was a little troublesome. Murong Hui called out his flying beast and took Sima Yue into the air. That evening, the first batch of people arrived. Sima Yue was surprised to see them. How could it be them? She muttered. Who is the other person? Do you know them? Murong Hui stood on the cliff with her and asked. I don't know who he is either, but we've met before. Sima Yue said. He recognized that I wasn't Murong Shi. Does he know who you are? I don't think so. Sima Yue was not sure. But I can feel that this person is not simple. Well, looking at the two of them, Yuan Yen seems to be the leader. It shows that his status is higher than the Yuan family. Murong, seeing the two of them walking into the illusion array, said, The Yuan family is one of the top families in our dynasty, and they are also attached to Wangya. There are only two of them, so they should not be the ones we are waiting for. Should we let them out? No need. They will come out soon. Sima Yue looked at the two people in the valley and frowned slightly. What is the origin of this emoji? The moment Yuan Yen and emoji entered the array, they knew that they had fallen into a trap. This array is really powerful, even I didn't find it until I entered the array. Emoji looked at the array with interest. Emoji, your attainments in array can be said to be the first in the dynasty. Even you didn't find it in advance. The person who arranged this array is really powerful. Yuan Yen sighed. I don't know who arranged this. It shouldn't be someone from the dynasty, right? No, I am familiar with the arrays of the few guys who are more powerful than me. This array was not arranged by them. Emoji said, as for who it is, we will know when we get out. The person who arranged the array must still be here. Once it is cracked, they will be able to see that person. Then he began to take Yuan Yen through the array and came out of it in a few minutes. Seeing Sima Yue standing on the cliff, both of them were a little shocked. Bright eyes and white teeth, a slender figure, long hair, and a red dress fluttering in the wind. Her deep eyes attracted people's minds. Thank you for not breaking my array directly. Sima Yue spoke first. She could see from Emoji's steps that he could crack her array. At first, she was a little worried that he would destroy the array directly in a simple and crude way. She didn't expect that he just walked out of it with Yuan Yen. You didn't attack either. Emoji said, you have already shown your goodwill, how can I not know what's good for me? It's just that I didn't expect this array to be arranged by you. It really surprised me, Murongshi. He said the words Murongshi very lightly, and Sima Yue understood what he meant. Murongshi didn't like anything except beautiful men. How could she have such attainments in array? So, she was not Murongshi at all. However, he didn't intend to expose her now. Sima Yue smiled, since you have already come out, please leave. Since we are already here, we have to watch a good show. Emoji pulled Yuan Yen and flew to the cliff on the other side. The position where they stood could also be blocked by the array so that the people outside could not see them. After a while, someone came again, and the person who came this time did not surprise Murong Hui. It was not the Dong family nor any other family but the Xiao family. Seeing them kneeling together, Sima Yue saw the heartache of being betrayed from Murong Hui's face. In the array, Xiao Ruabai looked at Grandpa and Xiao family members kneeling on the ground and said in surprise, Grandpa, what are you doing? Who is this person? Ruabai, this is the seventh prince, you still don't kneel down. Patriarch Xiao turned his head and shouted. Seventh prince? Why is he here? Xiao Ruabai pouted and knelt down. The Xiao family can't even do such a small thing, otherwise I wouldn't have to do it myself. Do it? Xiao Ruabai was still puzzled. Suddenly she thought of Murong Hui being seriously injured here and exclaimed, Grandpa, did you do it to the Duke? Chapter 1798. Sima Yue sighed. Why did things turn out this way? The Xiao family was obviously instigated by the seventh prince during the period when Xiao Ruabai was not at home. Xiao Ruabai obviously didn't know that they had changed. With her temperament, it would not be easy for her to accept these things. Grandfather, tell me, the regional prince's injury has nothing to do with you, right? Xiao Ruabai looked at the patriarch of the Xiao family. Seeing that he had no intention of denying it, her eyes showed pain as she murmured, Why? Ruabai, don't ask anything. We naturally have our reasons for doing so. Patriarch Xiao said. All right, I won't ask about this. I'll only ask you one question. When you asked me to go to the Duke's mansion to find did you want me to investigate? You used me? Xiao Ruabai's eyes were filled with tears. Grandpa once said that he would never use me and let me be the carefree princess of the Xiao family. Grandfather, Ruabai ultimately lost to the clan's interests, right? Ruabai. Xiao family head saw that her reaction was so intense and felt very distressed. After all, he had doted on her since she was young. She took a step back and her gaze gradually turned cold. Grandfather, the seventh prince is still here. You should talk to the seventh prince first. If he blames us, our Xiao clan won't be able to bear the consequences. Seventh prince. Patriarch Xiao and the others raised their heads, but the seventh prince was nowhere to be seen. Master, the seventh prince is missing? Patriarch Xiao also realized that something was wrong. The seventh prince, who was in front of him just now, had disappeared without a trace. We've entered an illusion array. He looked around. The surrounding scenery had not changed, but when he looked carefully, he realized that something was wrong. How did you enter the illusion array? Who set up the illusion here? Everyone cried out in alarm. They actually didn't sense anything when they came in. This illusion array was too powerful. Looks like we've been tricked. Patriarch Xiao said, It's just that I don't know if this is to lure us out or if it's specially set up to target us. Why are you here? The head of the Dong family came in with the Dong family's people. He was surprised to see the people in the valley. There was clearly no one there just now. There is an illusion array here. We are trapped in it. Family head Xiao said. An illusory spell? Only then did the members of the Dong family notice that something was wrong with the scenery here. However, before they could break this array formation, another person walked in. Slowly there were more and more people in Moon Creek Valley. On the cliff, Emoji looked at the situation below and exclaimed, "This formation is far beyond my expectations. Even I may not be able to arrange such a formation. It seems that she was the one who let me walk out just now." Is this array very powerful? Yuan Yen didn't understand arrays, but he knew how powerful the person around him was, and even he couldn't stop praising him. Then this array was really powerful. This formation looks very simple at first glance, but it's much bigger than an ordinary illusion formation. Even though so many people had entered, they did not show any signs of collapsing. If it was someone else's illusion array, it would have collapsed long ago. Emoji explained, "Moreover, this array is not that simple. There's a secret behind it." "What else?" "You'll know if you keep watching." Emoji didn't say anything and looked at Sima Yue with interest. No wonder the old ancestor said that it would not be boring to take on this matter. It was really true. But this lass was so defensive. It wouldn't be easy to gain her trust. "However, it's interesting to do such a thing, isn't it?" he murmured. In the canyon, those people looked at each other with a dazed expression. "Who arranged the illusion array? This illusion array trapped us all here. Does it want to kill us all? This is just an illusion array, just let him break it. Why worry so much?" "Patriarch Xiao, Patriarch Dong, you came here the earliest. Do you have a way to crack this array?" "Not yet, we just arrived," Patriarch Dong said. "Let's attack together. This illusion array should not be able to withstand so much power from us," Patriarch Xiao said. "That's right. As long as the spiritual power exceeds the endurance of the illusion array, it can naturally be cracked. However, when they used their spiritual power, their faces changed drastically. Why can't I use my spiritual power? This shouldn't be an illusion too, right? Some illusion arrays will also make people lose their spiritual power." "It shouldn't be." Patriarch Xiao mobilized his spiritual power. Although it was a little sluggish, he could still move. "We should be poisoned." "Poisoned?" "Yes. We are poisoned." Patriarch Dong also echoed. "You can actually poison the illusion array." This. Yuan Yen looked at the calm Sima Yue, without pride or complacency, as if this was not arranged by her at all. If she wasn't standing at the place where the array was opened, it would be hard for them to believe that she was the one manipulating all this behind the scenes. It's okay. It's almost time to come," Murong Hui said. "Yes, father." Sima Yue closed the array. Although the surrounding scenery did not change, the people in the array felt the fluctuations of spiritual power. They looked up and saw the four people standing on both sides. "Duke?" Those people were surprised to see Murong Hui. How could it be him? They heard that he was going to clean up the strength of Vast City recently. Could it be that he wanted to catch them all in one fell swoop? "Xiao family members stay, the others leave immediately," Murong Hui said. As soon as his voice fell, hundreds of guards came out from inside and outside the canyon, blocking the front and back roads. "Others leave, Xiao family members stay," the guards said in unison, and the loud voice echoed in the canyon several times before gradually dissipating. Everyone looked at each other and they were puzzled. Was the Duke going to deal with the Xiao family? But wasn't the Xiao family his people? Did they betray him? However, doubts were doubts. They quickly withdrew from the canyon through the passage left by the guards. The Xiao family also wanted to leave, but the guards were staring at them, making them unable to take a step. After those people retreated, they did not go far, but stopped in a wide place to pay attention to the situation here. In the canyon, Murong Hui and Patriarch Xiao looked at each other. Murong Hui no longer had the trust of the past, and Patriarch Xiao no longer had the respect of the past. "Patriarch Xiao, have I ever treated you badly?" In the end, it was Murong Hui who spoke first. "A fine bird chooses a tree to nest in. I am just seeking a better way for myself. Although the Duke has treated me well, Vast City is too poor to give us the way out we want," Patriarch Xiao said with conviction, and there was no regret on his face. When Sima Yue heard his words, she really wanted to say that he was self-aware and knew that he was a beast. However, when she saw Xiao Ruobai beside him, she swallowed these words back. Chapter 1799. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book web, update quickly, no pop-up window, free to read. Murong Hui heard Patriarch Zhao's words and didn't ask any more questions. Everything was already clear. Sima Yue didn't have a deep feeling about these things. After all, she hadn't been here for long. Except for Xiao Ruabai, she had nothing to do with these people and didn't know about their feelings. Seeing all this, she felt that she was still an outsider. However, seeing Xiao Ruabai in so much pain, she also felt sad for her. Father Ruabai doesn't know about this. Can you? She opened her mouth, not knowing whether this was good for Xiao Ruabai. Since Xiao family had betrayed Murong Hui, he would definitely not leave them behind. At that time, Xiao Ruabai would face the pain of extermination alone. For her, it was no better than death. When Xiao Ruabai heard Sima Yue pleading for her, she looked up at her and moved her lips, but still didn't say anything. The friendship between her and her could only go so far. She rarely recognized a person, so she rarely had real friends. She didn't expect to finally meet someone she liked, but it couldn't last long. She pleaded for her and wanted her to live. However, she didn't want to accept it. She moved closer to Grandpa to show her position. No matter what the result was today, she would live and die with Xiao family. Patriarch Xiao looked at Xiao Ruabai with a trace of regret in his eyes. I've implicated you, child. Grandpa, no matter what, you are my grandpa. Although Xiao Ruabai was not happy that he used her, at this moment she was still a member of Xiao family. Patriarch Xiao patted Xiao Ruabai's head lovingly. Murong Hui dotes on his daughter very much. Since she pleaded for you, you should leave. This is the choice of our Xiao family. You can't blame others. You have to live well and don't think about revenge for us. Even if she were to survive today, it would be impossible for her to overthrow a regional king. The tears in Xiao Ruabai's eyes burst out. She grabbed Patriarch Zhao's hand and kept shaking her head. No, I want to be with you. Silly child. Patriarch Xiao sighed and didn't say anything more. On the cliff, Mu? A class equals __f email _ref equals /seating I/L/ email protection, email protected, waved his hand, and the guards on both sides immediately rushed towards the Xiao family. The members of the Xiao family were poisoned and could not use their spiritual energy, but they did not admit defeat immediately. They held their weapons and resisted. One by one, the members of the Xiao family fell down. Xiao Ruabai looked at the corpses on the ground. Her eyes were red and tears fell, washing out tears on her bloody face. Sima Yue felt a twinge of pain in her heart when she saw how devastated she was. It was as if she had seen herself in the past. She really didn't know that the person who betrayed Murong Hui would be the Xiao family, nor did she know that Xiao Ruabai would come with them. If she had known that she would face such a situation, she would not have chosen this method. However, what was done and she could not change anything. Seeing that someone was behind Xiao Ruabai and was about to cut down with a knife, she subconsciously made a move and knocked the man's knife down. Don't kill her. Sima Yue looked at Xiao Ruabai and shouted to the guard. As soon as she made a move, the whole scene suddenly quieted down, and there were not many members of the Xiao family left. Only Xiao Ruabai, Patriarch Xiao, and a few guards were still standing. The guard looked at Murong Hui, waiting for him to make a decision. Murong Hui thought for a while and said, "Let Xiao Ruabai go. As for the rest, kill them all. Duke, if you don't remove the roots, it will grow again when the spring breeze blows." An aide disagreed. At this time they should all be killed. Sima Yue also understood this truth, but she still couldn't do anything to the innocent Xiao Ruabai. Even if you save me today, I will not remember your kindness. Xiao Ruabai looked at Sima Yue with a complicated gaze. Our friendship ends today, so you don't have to plead for me. I know. Whether you want to hate me or take revenge, you have to survive first. Sima Yue said. I am a member of the Xiao family. I live with the Xiao family and die with the Xiao family. You don't have to worry about me anymore. Xiao Ruabai stopped looking at Sima Yue and lowered her head to hide the pain in her eyes. Go. Under Murong Hui's order, the guards rushed up again. The Xiao family had no way to resist, and soon only Patriarch Xiao and Xiao Ruabai were left. Patriarch Xiao could still use some of his spiritual power, and no one dared to kill Xiao Ruabai, so they all avoided her. At this moment, several men in black quickly flew over and killed all the people who attacked Xiao Ruabai. One of them grabbed Xiao Ruabai and pushed her to another man in black, saying, "Take her away first." The sudden appearance of the men in black surprised everyone. Their goal this time was very clear: Xiao Ruabai. Xiao Ruabai was caught and pulled out of the encirclement. She couldn't break free and could only look back at Patriarch Xiao, but she just happened to see him being stabbed in the heart from behind. Grandpa, she wanted to struggle, but it was in vain. The people who caught her did not give her a chance at all. Who are you? Let go of me, I'm going to find my grandpa. My grandpa is still inside. Let go of me, ah. The man felt that she was too much of a hindrance, so he directly knocked her out, carried her on his shoulder and continued to break out. Who are you? Murong Hui saw that the men in black were very strong, so he flew down and fought with them personally. The other party did not speak and their hands did not stop moving. Everyone had only one goal, and that was to break out. Sima Yue watched from above and saw that the man carrying Xiao Ruabai had been protecting her safety. Seeing that someone was going to hurt Xiao Ruabai, he turned his body and let her avoid, but he was injured. Her eyes narrowed slightly. These people really came to save Xiao Ruabai. Although Murong Hui pulled one person, they finally escaped after paying the price of a few masters. Duke, do you want to chase? Murong Hui looked at the speed of those people leaving and said, no need. Sima Yue originally wanted to spare Xiao Ruabai's life. These people were so powerful it didn't make sense to chase. Sima Yue breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Xiao Ruabai's figure in a daze. Since he was willing to protect you with his life, he should be able to protect you as well. Check and see if you can know the identity of these people. Murong Hui ordered. However, there was nothing on these people to identify themselves. Sima Yue frowned slightly when she heard the result. If she didn't know the identity of these people, then she would lose Xiao Ruabai's whereabouts. These people are the 7th Prince's people. Emoji suddenly said. Sima Yue turned to look at him, and the two looked at each other across the valley. Are you sure? I have seen his people before. Emoji didn't say much, but this was enough to explain the identity of these people. The 7th Prince, Sima Yue's eyebrows were tightly knitted together and the worry in her eyes increased. The 7th Prince used the Xiao family. Now that the Xiao family was gone, would Ruabai be okay in his hands? Chapter 1800. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book web, update quickly, no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue watched the men in black take Xiao Ruabai away. Even if she was worried, she felt that it was better this way. Now that she was facing Xiao Ruabai, she definitely couldn't accept herself. Although she had a clear conscience, she also felt sorry for her. Besides, since those people protected her with their lives, it means that the 7th Prince will not take her life. Without the protection of her family, having someone with her, at least she can have someone to rely on. Emoji kept looking at her, seeing that she was actually worried about a woman who was about to become her enemy. He inexplicably felt that she was a little silly and cute. Duke, how should we deal with these people? According to the past practice, this kind of person was burned directly. But looking at the relationship between Sima Yue and Xiao Ruabai, they were a little uncertain. Murong Hui glanced at Sima Yue on the cliff, saw her looking at him expectantly and ordered, bury them on the spot. Yes. Sima Yue smiled gratefully. Those onlookers were shocked when they saw Murong Hui destroy one of the top forces in Vast City. They always thought that he had gone to Eternal Brilliant City for so many years and had no control over this place. They didn't expect that he would do this to them shortly after he came back. It seems that they have to change their relationship with the Duke in the future. Sima Yue didn't want to see those people deal with the bodies of the Xiao family members. She greeted Murong Hui and withdrew from the cliff, preparing to look for the mineral veins. Mi-Er said that the surface here was very similar to the snowfield, covering the aura of the mineral veins. If it weren't for him, it would be difficult for others to find it. In his original words, if others found it, it was definitely smoke from the ancestral grave, making him accidentally dig the ore below. Yuan Yen saw her leaving alone and frowned disapprovingly. Moon Creek Valley is so dangerous, why did she leave alone? Are you worried about her? Emoji asked. Yuan Yen wanted to say no, but he felt that his performance just now was very unconvincing. I'm just grateful to her for letting me have an epiphany, break through the bottleneck and successfully advance. Since you are worried, let's go and have a look. After Emoji finished speaking, he took the lead and flew to the opposite side. Yuan Yen was stunned for a moment and also flew over. Sima Yue sensed movement behind her and turned around to see the two people flying towards her. She stopped and looked at them helplessly. Where are you going? She hoped that it wasn't what she was thinking. Yuan Yen said that he wanted to thank you for letting him have an epiphany in advance. Seeing you leave alone, he said that he would protect you for 2 days. Emoji said. Protect me? Sima Yue was stunned for a moment before she rejected. Thank you for your kind intentions, but my father will send someone to follow me. I don't need your protection. I don't like to be with strangers. Goodbye. After saying that, she turned around and left, leaving the two of them with a carefree back view. Emoji gave her a dangerous feeling, so it was better not to come into contact with him. Moreover, it would be too inconvenient for these two outsiders to be around. After a while, Muronghui caught up. In order to narrow the target, he only brought a dozen guards, and the rest returned to Liao City to help Murong Lin deal with the Xiao family. Sima Yue took them to the depths of Moon Creek Valley. They encountered several groups of underworld beasts on the way and were all killed by the guards. Are you sure it's here? Muronghui asked when he saw her getting deeper and deeper. The underworld beasts inside were getting more and more powerful. If they went deeper, they would be in danger. Sima Yue knew his scruples and said, "It's not far from here. It's probably a few thousand kilometers away." A few thousand kilometers, fortunately, it's not counted as entering the inner region. If we are lucky, we won't encounter any particularly strong spirit beasts. Muronghui estimated the distance in his heart and relaxed a little. However, they were still happy too early. Not long after these words were spoken, they were surrounded by a group of underworld beasts. Underworldine wolf? Why are there so many underworldine wolves here? The guards all shouted. Sima Yue looked at Muronghui's face and said, "Is this kind of underworld beast difficult to deal with? One underworldine wolf is easier to deal with, but this kind of wolf is generally a social animal." Muronghui explained. Sima Yue looked at the underworldine wolves surrounding them. There were at least 50 or 60 of them. They only had a dozen people, so it was indeed more troublesome to deal with them. "Duke, in a while we will kill our way out. You and Miss leave first," the leader of the guards said. Muronghui didn't agree, but he didn't say no. If it was just him, he would definitely fight with everyone. But today, with Sima Yue here, he must consider her safety. Sima Yue sat on Little Black's back. Little Black saw the underworldine wolves and was not worried at all. He even bared his teeth at them to provoke them. She patted Little Black's back, comforted him not to act rashly, and then called Little Purple out. "I'm sleeping. Why did you wake me up?" Little Z was not happy. She had a temper when she woke up. "I don't want to, but look at these. How can I not call you out?" Sima Yue touched Little Purple's head and smiled unscrupulously. "You are too weak now. Hurry up and improve your strength. Otherwise, you will have to find me if something happens in the future." Little Purple licked his claws unhappily, and then waved at the underworldine wolves. Crackle! A series of lightning flew out from his claws and directly hit the underworldine wolves. Those underworldine wolves couldn't dodge in time and were all turned into black charcoal. "Just you dregs." Little Purple blew his claws and said disdainfully. The guards were stunned. She actually had such a powerful underworld beast. The remaining underworldine wolves looked at their companions who were killed in an instant, and there was deep fear in their eyes. "Do you want to die?" Little Purple squinted at the underworldine wolves, and the threat in his eyes was very strong. Those underworldine wolves stared at Little Purple, slowly retreated, and then ran away without looking back. The guards were dumbfounded. It was so easy to solve it? So weak. Little Purple jumped into Sima Yue's arms. In order not to be interrupted, it would not go back for the time being. Muronghui recovered first, and the gaze he looked at Little Purple changed again and again. He knew Little Purple's identity, but it was the first time he saw it deal with an underworld beast. Even he was shocked by its fighting power. "Dad, we can continue?" Sima Yue said. "Well, let's go." Muronghui nodded and continued to move forward with the guards. After they left for a while, two figures fell beside the bodies of the underworldine wolves. I didn't expect her to have such a powerful underworld beast around her. No wonder she dared to come to Moon Creek Valley. Yuan Yin checked the underworldine wolves. As soon as he touched their bodies, he was electrocuted by the remaining lightning in his body. If he hadn't pulled it out quickly, his entire arm would have been crippled. Chapter 1801. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book web, update quickly, no pop-up window, read for free. Yuan Yin looked at his blackened arm, grimaced, and quickly took out a medicinal pill to eat. What a powerful lightning. He sighed. Emoji, what kind of beast was that just now? I haven't seen it either. It's not recorded in the book. Emoji said, but I think it shouldn't be a beast from the ghost realm. There are no lightning-attributed beasts in the ghost realm. Not from the ghost realm? Then where did she contract it from? Yuan Yin said in shock. Maybe it's from outside, or Muronghui got it for her from somewhere. Emoji knew that this must be brought by Sima Yue from the human world, but he did not say her identity. The underworld dog beside her is not an ordinary underworld dog. It seems that this Morongxi has experienced some things during the time she left Vast City. Yuan Yen said, could it be that these experiences have changed her temperament? Maybe. Emoji replied, in that case we don't have to worry about her safety. Aren't you looking for black Ganoderma? Since we are here, let's look for it. Okay. From the canyon to here, they have been following from a distance. When they saw so many underworldine wolves just now, they almost came out. Now that they know that she has such a powerful spirit beast, they can do their own things. Sima Yue took Murong Hui into the inner edge of Moon Creek Valley and came to an inconspicuous hill. Father, it's here. She pointed to the hill and said, is there a mineral vein here? The seeker spirit master who followed didn't believe it. This hill doesn't have any characteristics of a mineral vein. How can it be a mineral vein? This stone skin is different from the ordinary stone skin, so people can't see that this is a mineral vein. But as long as you dig down for tens of meters, you will find the ore below. Sima Yue said affirmatively. If it's really a mineral vein, such a small mountain, there shouldn't be much ore, right? Not only this hill but also this stretch for tens of thousands of kilometers. It's just that they are all hidden underground. Sima Yue said, if you don't believe me, you can follow this direction for 10,000 kilometers and see if it's true. However, that place is already in the depths of the inner region. Be careful. Everyone, since you know that it's in the depths of the inner region, how could they possibly go in to investigate? Inform the butler, tell him that the mineral lode has been found, and ask him to send someone over. Murong Hui ordered. Yes, Your Highness. That person accepted the order and left. In his heart, he thought that the prince was still so doting towards the young miss and did not doubt her words at all. If there were no ore veins here, then wouldn't their trip be in vain? It would also alarm the other clans and bring some trouble to the regional king's manor. Sima Yue watched the man leave. A-class equals __f_email _ref equals /seeding/l/email protection data female equals 61C21 AAD4. Email protected. Father, you promised to let me open the momentum. Father still remembers. Go ahead. A-class equals __f_email _ref equals /seeding/l/email protection data female equals B5683AF57E00. Email protected. The seeker spirit master on the side wanted to stop him, but he was stared back by Murong Hui. Thank you, Father. Sima Yue hugged little Z, sat on little Black's back and ran up the hill alone. Your Highness, the young miss is so young. She doesn't know much about the seeker spirit master. If we really let her open the momentum, will she? The seeker spirit master said worriedly. I know what I'm doing. A-class equals __f_email _ref equals /seeding/l/email protection data female equals 2AF7A56AE19F. Email protected. The seeker spirit master still wanted to say something, but he was pulled away by Murong Hui's aides. The young miss is the prince's treasure. Not to mention giving her a mineral lode to play with. Even if she was given the whole county manor to play with, he wouldn't feel distressed. You fool actually went to touch the prince's reverse scale, you're really stupid. Sima Yue came to the back of the hill and made sure that they couldn't see, then she called me air out. I'll leave the rest to you. She said, you have to take it easy. Don't damage this mineral lode. It's very important to Father. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Mi Air turned into her appearance, then drove her into the spirit pagoda and began to open the momentum himself. Sima Yue knew that it was very easy for him to open the momentum. After entering the spirit pagoda, she didn't pay attention to the outside world and went to see the beasts that were still sleeping. Because the spirit pagoda had been repaired, the beasts looked much better now and their hair was glossy. She approached them and felt that their breaths were also recovering quickly. It wouldn't be long before they woke up one after another. She walked over, leaned her head on Little Dream's head and gently stroked her face. When will you wake up? Although Father is very good to me and Little Black and the rest are with me, I still feel that I haven't integrated into this place. I still miss you guys. You. The ethereal call made her body tremble. Little Dream? Little Dream, is that you? Have you woken up? Sima Yue let go of Little Dream and stared at her nervously. Seeing Little Dream slowly open her eyes, her tears flowed down silently. You. Little Dream stuck out her tongue to lick the tears on her face. Little Dream, you're awake. You're really awake. Sima Yue hugged Little Dream excitedly. Little Dream turned into a human and hugged Sima Yue. She patted her back gently and said, yes, I'm awake. You won't be alone anymore. I'm sorry, it's all my fault that you guys fell asleep. Sima Yue couldn't suppress the self-blame in her heart anymore, hugging Little Dream and crying non-stop. It's okay, Yu. We don't blame you. If you're like this, everyone will be worried about you even in their sleep. Little Dream comforted, although we didn't wake up, we can still feel that you've been very unhappy recently. Even if you're smiling, you're not happy for a moment. Your heart has been immersed in sorrow. We all feel sorry for you. Sima Yue also knew that she had been unhappy. Ever since she woke up and saw the sleeping beasts, she was immersed in self-blame. So she couldn't integrate into the life here, so she cultivated desperately. This was not only to save her mother, but also to let the beasts wake up earlier. Originally, she had been suppressing this self-blame, but now that Little Dream had woken up, it was brought out. Everyone loves you. We want to see you happy. Little Dream said, we've seen your hard work. You really don't have to blame yourself. I'll be with you. Yes. Sima Yue blushed slightly when she was comforted by the beasts. Actually, you don't have to worry too much about everyone. I've already woken up, so they should be waking up soon. Little Dream continued to comfort her. Before she woke up, they felt her condition and were really too worried. Fortunately, she woke up and could guide her. Speaking of which, why did you wake up before them? Sima Yue wiped her tears and tried to calm herself down. Little Dream wasn't the strongest one, but why did she wake up first? Chapter 1802. Maybe it has something to do with the thing in my heart. Little Dream said uncertainly, since that thing can keep me alive, maybe it has other uses. She reached out and touched her chest, her expression complicated. No matter what the reason is, it's good that you're awake. Sima Yue patted her shoulder. Yes. They'll wake up soon too. Little Dream smiled. If they know that I'm the first to wake up to accompany Yu, they'll definitely be jealous of me. Little Black and Me are here too. Those two fellows don't count. Little Dream pouted. One just arrived not long ago, the other's intelligence is not complete, they don't count. Anyway, I'm the first. It's a pity that Thousand Resonance and Little Roar aren't here. I wonder how they're doing now. Sima Yue thought of those two fellows and was a little worried. They stayed in your body and didn't come to the ghost realm with us. When we return to the human realm, we'll be able to see them. Although Little Dream missed Little Roar very much, but seeing Sima Yue like this, she still comforted her. Yes. I must cultivate properly and fight for everyone to wake up earlier and reunite earlier. Sima Yue looked at the living area, her father and Lei and those bird clan elders were still inside. I'll go outside to accompany you. Little Dream pulled Sima Yue's hand. All right. Sima Yue nodded, she needed her company now too. As for other people being curious about Little Dream's identity, that was no longer within her consideration. After Mi-Er settled the matters outside and called Sima Yue out, she and Little Dream had already talked for a long time, and her mood had already calmed down. Mi-Er saw that her spirit was different and pouted, unhappy that he couldn't make her happy. Sima Yue touched his shoulder, saying, You and Little Black are also very important, but there are some psychological problems that need to be dealt with. Forget it, I won't argue with you about this. When Little Dream wakes up, you'll have one more person to protect you. How's your recovery? About 70 to 80%. There's a chance in the future, get me more. Mi-Er said. That's good. Someone's coming? Little Dream reminded. Sima Yue kept Mi-Er. Mi-Er returned to the back of her hand and turned into a blood-red flower. It was enchanting. Murong Hui and the others climbed over the hillside and saw Sima Yue standing in the valley with Little Z in her arms. On one side was Little Black, and on the other side was a little girl they had never seen before. Dad. Sima Yue walked over with Little Z in her arms. Why are you here? Didn't you say so? Murong Hui said doubtfully. Sima Yue was slightly startled. She smiled and said, Yes, it's done. Now you can open the mountain. Murong Hui asked those people to open the mine to determine if there was really a mineral vein below. After those people left, he asked, This is my contracted beast Little Dream. Sima Yue said, She's a dark-type spirit beast, so she woke up faster. Murong Hui looked at Little Dream and wanted to see what kind of spirit beast she was, but he couldn't see it at all. He was astonished and marveled inwardly. Even he couldn't see the spirit beast, which meant that she was very strong, and her race should be relatively rare. At least he hadn't seen it before. Thank you for protecting Yu. Little Dream nodded lightly to him to express her gratitude. Since she recovered her memory, her whole person had become cold. Except for Little Roar and Sima Yue, others rarely saw her smile and received her gentle treatment. She's the one who helped me, Murong Hui said politely. Duke? We really dug the ore. The cheers of the Seeker Spirit Master came from over there. Murong Hui's face was overjoyed and he quickly rushed over. Seeing the real ore, he was also excited with everyone. With this, the strength of the Duke Manor could be improved a lot. Duke, from the stone skin of these ores, it seems that they are all old mineral veins, and the things inside should be more precious. If it's really as Miss said, it's tens of thousands of kilometers, then this is a priceless treasure. The Seeker Spirit Master held the ore that had just been opened and was very excited. Duke, the crystal stones have been opened. The miners ran over with some crystal stones. Duke, the lowest crystal stones we opened are middle grade and there are many high grade ones. The grade of this mineral vein is really good. We've just started mining and there are already high grade crystal stones. My vast region won't have to worry about it for the next few years. Murong Hui said with emotion. He didn't expect that there would be such a good mineral vein so close to Vast City. If it weren't for Sima Yue, they wouldn't have found it. Duke, we can't continue mining now. If we mine too much, the spiritual power will attract others. The Seeker Spirit Master said. Wait for the guards to come and then continue mining. Now everyone stay here first. Murong Hui ordered. Sima Yue watched them excitedly cover the ground back, and their faces were full of smiles and she also smiled. Mu Chichi had been restrained by something but now, her heart was soaring. Sima Yue walked over and said, Father, you stay here, I'll go look around. This mineral vein is definitely not the mineral vein that those people found, but since they will throw out such news, maybe there are other mineral veins around. I'll go with you. Murong Hui said. No need. Father still needs to preside over the overall situation here. I have Little Z and Little Meng, so I'll be fine. Sima Yue said. Murong Hui looked at Little Z in her arms and didn't insist. He had seen Little Z's power. Even if they encountered the inner underworld beasts, they might not be able to get close to them. Sima Yue left and walked towards the depths of Moon Creek Valley. In fact, there were no mineral veins here, otherwise, Mi-Er would be the first to sense it. She just wanted to see if there were any good medicinal materials here that could be used as snacks for Little Black to eat. Although it didn't want to eat. Moreover, she could solve some unnecessary problems on the way. After walking for a long time, she stopped and said, I'm so hungry, let's get something to eat. Little Black, go and catch a nether beast. Little Black knew how to eat, so it ran away like lightning and soon ran back with a nether beast in its mouth, put it on the ground and barked twice at Sima Yue as if it was asking for credit. Sima Yue touched its head and praised, Little Black is so capable. It ran away happily. After running a few laps, it ran back and stayed by her side, watching her skillfully cut open the stomach of the nether beast, wash it and put it in the pot. Well, I'll start now, and it should be almost cooked when the matter is solved. She closed the lid. I say, you've been following me all the way, aren't you going to come out? Chapter 1803. The men in black hiding in the dark were all startled. They had always thought that they had hidden very well, but they did not expect to be discovered. They looked at the place where Sima Yue was. The terrain was wide and suitable for battle. Could it be that she had specially chosen this place? Still not coming out? As soon as Sima Yue's voice fell, a wave of spirit energy attacked the place where they were hiding. Although her strength was very weak, it still hurt when it hit them, right? Thus they left the place and exposed themselves. Sima Yue sized up these people and said, The Dong family? Dong Qilian and Dong Qishuang sent you to kill me? She had not come into contact with many people after coming here. The only people who wanted to kill her were the Dong sisters. Since you know, then obediently hand over your life. The men in black did not waste any more words. Two of them directly attacked her. You're courting death. Little Meng stepped forward and condensed spirit energy, turning it into two whips. She wrapped the two of them and with a strong swing, the two of them were thrown far away. The two of them spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground without any signs of life. So strong. The men in black looked at Little Meng and became vigilant. They did not expect that other than the dog by her side, there was such a powerful person. They estimated each other's strength in their hearts and felt that they might not be able to defeat her. They all wanted to retreat. Want to escape? Little Meng shouted coldly and then lightly hummed. Sound waves spread out from her mouth. The men in black who were retreating paused. Then they all hugged their heads and rolled back and forth on the ground. They were in great pain. Little Meng stopped humming and coldly looked at the people rolling on the ground. With your little strength, you dare to kill my Yu. She condensed spirit energy and turned it into swords. She flew towards those people and slashed their throats. Every one of them had a pained expression on their faces when they died. Even death did not seem to be able to release them. Sima Yue watched little Meng deal with them cleanly and sighed, "Our little Meng is so powerful." "It's not that I'm powerful, it's that your strength is too weak. They only sent some trash to kill you," little Meng said honestly. "Sima Yue, what happened to the love from before? How could he stab him in the back at this time? They looked like they were in pain. What did you do to them?" Sima Yue asked curiously. "It's nothing much. It's just making them hallucinate," Little Dream said. As for what kind of hallucination it was, she didn't need to say much. Yue could already guess. It was definitely not something good. Seeing the expressions of those people, she shrank her neck and silently lit a candle for those who had provoked Xiao Meng. Although Xiao Meng was usually the quietest when she was with Little Seven and Hua Hua, when she really got angry, her explosive power was not inferior to Little Seven's. "Yu, are the things ready? Will it burn?" Xiao Meng came to the side of the pot and called out when she saw that she was still standing there. "How can it be burnt so easily?" Sima Yue walked over. "It's not cooked yet. Who asked you to move so quickly, taking care of all of them in just a few moves? It'll take a while to cook. I haven't eaten the food you made for a long time." Xiao Meng pouted. When she faced her, she was still a little like before. I'll make more for you today." Sima Yue smiled and took out some ingredients to make Xiao Meng's favorite food. "Woof, woof, woof," Little Black barked at the side, reminding her not to forget about it. "Go and eat the medicinal herbs." Xiao Meng grabbed Little Black's neck and threw it out. Little Black ran back, feeling wronged. It barked a few times at Xiao Meng, indicating that it was the one who had brought back the underworld beast. Sima Yue looked at Little Black and Xiao Meng and couldn't help but laugh. No matter when, the beasts got along with each other so lovingly. Little Purple narrowed its eyes at the side and looked at Xiao Meng and the others. It said in disdain, "Childish." "This is not childish. This is the way they get along." Sima Yue explained to it, "You didn't get along with them much before. You'll know slowly in the future. I'm the noble top-grade Purple Thunder. I won't do such a childish thing." Little Purple raised its chin proudly, its face full of disdain. "Is that so?" Sima Yue grabbed its 2 ears and hung it up. "Noble top-grade Purple Thunder, why did you come into my body? Well, now you're tied to me." "Humph, if it weren't for Qi Yan's despicable means, how could I be caught by you?" Little Purple talked about its dark history and felt very stifled. "No matter how we did it, you're caught by us now." Sima Yue flicked its head with her finger. "Humph." Little Purple stretched out its claws to grab her, but she cleverly avoided it. "Good, I'll make you delicious food." Sima Yue put it down, touched its head and said, "Well, for the sake of the delicious food, it won't argue with her for the time being." Sima Yue looked at it pretending to be calm when it was obviously hungry and smiled. Soon she prepared a large table of food. Little Purple was the first to jump on the table and began to eat. Little Meng, who was playing with Little Black, threw Little Black aside, sat at the table and began to eat. Although Little Black was thrown out, it ran back in the blink of an eye and sat right next to Sima Yue. Mier had come out from her hand and sat next to Little Meng and began to eat. Sima Yue didn't eat much. Most of the time she watched Little Meng eat. Since they fell into a deep sleep, even the thought of cooking for them was extravagant. After the beasts finished eating, Sima Yue took them on the road. She threw Little Purple on Little Black. The cat and dog caught each other along the way. It was very lively. "Yu, there are fighting sounds in front." Little Meng was a spiritual beast with strong spiritual power and was much more sensitive to the surrounding situation. When Sima Yue was hesitating whether to join in the fun or not, those people didn't give her time to think. A group of underworld-ine wolves chased after a group of people. The people running in front were the 2 young ladies of the Dong family, followed by more than a dozen guards. The underworld-ine wolves behind were those who were scared away by Little Purple. "Sister, I can't run anymore. Why are these underworld-ine wolves still chasing us?" Dong Qishuang was so tired that she was out of breath, and her running speed was getting slower and slower. If it weren't for the underworld-ine wolves chasing after her, she would have been paralyzed. "If you don't want to die here, don't stop." Dong Qilian turned back and shouted. Seeing the underworld-ine wolves chasing after them, her face darkened. Sima Yue looked at the people running over and the underworld-ine wolves and was happy. They were all acquaintances. Should she go and say hello? Chapter 1804. The first to notice them were the underworldine wolves that were running in front. They suddenly stopped and those behind did not have time to react and all of them bumped into them. Dong Qilian and the others had been paying attention to the situation behind them and were surprised when they saw the underworldine wolves stop. Then they saw Sima Yue standing in front of them. "Why are you here? Why aren't you dead yet?" Dong Qishuang shouted. Sima Yue shrugged. "Are you so surprised to see me? You want to kill me with just the people you sent? Now is not the time to talk about this." Dong Qilian stopped Dong Qishuang. Sima Yue stood in front of them and blocked their escape route. Although she didn't know why the underworldine wolf stopped and didn't know how she survived, if she used it well, she could let Sima Yue stop the underworldine wolf's pace and take the opportunity to get rid of her. "Awoo!" The underworldine wolves howled and those underworldine wolves wanted to retreat. Sima Yue saw their intentions and said to them, "Hey friends, I am not familiar with them. You don't have to care about me." The retreating steps stopped and the underworldine wolves looked at her in confusion. Sima Yue smiled at them and said, "You don't have to worry, I am not with them. You can do whatever you want and just ignore me. I won't make a move." "Murongshi, what do you mean? Are you trying to bewitch these underworldine wolves to kill us?" Dong Qishuang shouted. "Yes." Sima Yue nodded seriously. "So you saw through it? It seems that I was too obvious." What, only you can send people to kill me but I can't hit you when you are down?" Sima Yue snorted. "Besides, I didn't do anything. The underworldine wolves wanting to kill you has nothing to do with me. I am just eliminating my factor." "What's the difference?" "The difference is huge." Sima Yue curled her lips. "If the underworldine wolves leave like this, then wouldn't it be me who saved you? Hey, it makes me uncomfortable just thinking about it. The underworldine wolves originally wanted to kill them. If they retreated because of her, then wasn't it because of her?" "Friends, you can continue." After she finished speaking, she took a few steps back with little Z in her arms. The underworldine wolves looked at Sima Yue and were confused for a while before they rushed over again and surrounded the Dong Qi. "Murongshi, you actually dared to connive with the nether beast to kill us." Murongshi, Sima Yue's back to the underworldine wolves and Murongshi to prevent them from sneak attacks. They didn't understand why the underworldine wolf would suddenly listen to Sima Yue. "What Yue in Yue? It wasn't me who planned for the underworldine wolves to chase after you, nor was it me who led them to your place. There is no rule in this world that says we have to help when we see injustice." Sima Yue said, "Moreover, you sent people to kill me and you still want me to help you. Are you too stupid and naive or am I stupid?" "Chi." The underworldine wolves were sure that she would not help these people, so they relaxed and attacked. The people Dong Qilian brought were not weak, but there were many underworldine wolves and their strength was not low, so they were not their opponents at all. Soon the Dong family's people were all killed. Even Dong Qilian wanted to use her trump card to escape, but she did not have time. Sima Yue watched from the side. Seeing their speed, she could not help but twitch the corner of her mouth. It had only been a few minutes and there were not many intact corpses. How much hatred did they have? The Wolf King walked over and looked at Sima Yue, expressing his gratitude to her. "Thank you." If she wanted to take action, they would not be able to take revenge. "What did they do to you?" Sima Yue asked curiously. "They stole several of our cubs and killed them all on the way to escape because they were in the way," the Wolf King said. Sima Yue wondered if they were stupid. The spirit beasts cared about their babies the most. If they were captured, then so be it, but they killed them on the way. It would be strange if they did not fight to the death with you. Well, she also killed their clansmen, but she had absolute strength. Little Z, they automatically ignored this matter. Then the underworldine wolves left and returned to the depths of Moon Creek Valley. Xiaoming came back after circling around and said, "You, someone was nearby just now. Even you and I didn't notice?" Sima Yue was a little surprised. "The other party is very good at hiding his aura." Xiaoming said, "That person may have seen the underworldine wolves killing these people. If it gets out, it may cause us trouble. Then there's nothing we can do." Sima Yue did not take this to heart. Even if the Dong family knew, she did not directly make a move. Could they still kill her? Even if they really wanted to be so shameless, she was not afraid of them. They ignored the corpses on the ground and continued to go deeper. On the way they encountered some underworld beasts, but they were all beaten away by Xiaoming. Soon their group was included in the list of those who could not be offended. Woof woof woof, Xiao He suddenly barked and ran forward, disappearing in the blink of an eye. "Xiao He." Sima Yue and Xiao Meng chased after it and followed it to the bottom of a cliff. There was a cold pool at the bottom of the cliff, and there was a beauty who had just come out of the cold pool. They still knew this beauty. Ugh. Everything came unexpectedly. Sima Yue quickly closed her eyes and turned around with Xiao Meng. Well, I didn't know you were bathing here. I didn't mean to offend you. She apologized. Hua. Another sound of water came and Yuan Yan's surprised voice came, Murongshi? Why are you here? Sima Yue was embarrassed. 2 men in the cold pool. Forgive her for thinking wrongly. Emoji looked at Sima Yue's back, the corners of his mouth raised and said, We didn't take off our clothes. What are you shy about? What? Sima Yue turned her head and saw that both of them were wearing clothes. It was just that Emoji's clothes were too loose, and when he came out of the water, his shoulders were exposed, making her think that he was bathing here. It turned out that she was mistaken. Thinking about the thoughts in her mind just now, she was a little embarrassed. Ahem, what are you doing in the cold pool? We are looking for something and it happens to be at the bottom of the pool. Yuan Yen explained. Woof woof woof, Xiao He barked at him twice. Yuan Yen didn't know what it meant, but Sima Yue knew. She walked over and hugged its neck, saying, That's someone else's treasure, you can't have any ideas about it. I'll find something else for you, okay? Yuan Yen looked at its eyes staring at him, and felt as if he was being stared at by the god of death, and his whole body turned cold. Chapter 1805. Just when Yuan Yen felt that he was about to be completely shrouded in darkness, that feeling suddenly disappeared. When he came back to his senses, he saw Sima Yue stretching out her hands to cover Xiao Hei's eyes. Xiao He, if you're not obedient, I don't want you. She threatened softly, and the aura on Xiao Hei's body suddenly loosened, and he returned to the silly and cute little black dog. The momentum just now seemed to have never existed. Yuan Yen touched his forehead, and the cold sweat mixed with the water of the cold pool, making him shudder unconsciously. Emoji looked at Xiao He with undisguised inquiry in his eyes. Sima Yue ignored the doubts and shock of the two and smiled. You got a treasure at the bottom of the pool, right? My little dog nose is more sensitive, so I ran over. Ahem, don't worry, he won't rob you. Yuan Yen nodded blankly. This thing is what my family needs, and it's also the purpose of my coming to Vast City, so I can't give it up. It doesn't matter, whoever finds it belongs to whoever finds it. Sima Yue felt that this Yuan Yen seemed to be a little too easy to talk to. She didn't know that he was scared by Xiao Hei's eyes. The water of the cold pool is cold, do you want to come out first? Emoji and Yuan Yen came out of the water, the two mobilized their spiritual power, and the water on their bodies was quickly dried. Sima Yue took a piece of dried meat and teased Xiao He. Little Z was sleeping in Little Meng's arms, and the sun shone on them, making them feel warm. Emoji walked over, looked at Xiao He, who was no different from an ordinary dog, and said, Your dog is really special. Special? It's okay, it's just a little mutated in some places. Sima Yue laughed and changed the subject. I'm curious about what treasure you found. If I'm not mistaken, it should be a medicinal herb. It is indeed a medicinal herb. Emoji nodded, he didn't intend to say much about the Yuan family. Sima Yue smiled and continued to tease Xiao He. Yuan Yen came over and asked, Why did you come here? I heard that there are a lot of medicinal herbs here, so I wanted to try my luck and see if I could find anything rare. Sima Yue explained, but after looking around I didn't find any rare medicinal herbs. There aren't many herbs here. Hearing her words, both Emoji and Yuan Yen smiled. Although there are few people here, it is not suitable for the growth of medicinal materials. In addition, there are many spirit beasts, so there are even fewer survivors. I see. I was wondering why I didn't see any good herbs. Sima Yue was enlightened. Since that was the case, there was no need for her to stay here any longer. We found what we're looking for, so we're ready to go back. Are you with us? Yuan Yen said. Sima Yue looked at him. Was he inviting her to join him? Seeing her so surprised, Yuan Yen was a little uncomfortable and explained, It's so dangerous here. It's better for everyone to go back together. I just think so. Emoji facepalmed, explaining is tantamount to covering up, you know? He thought that Sima Yue would reject him, but she agreed after a short moment of consideration. Anyway, it was just on the way. Previously, she avoided the two of them because she was afraid of Emoji. In addition, she was also in a bad mood and was not in the mood to deal with him. Now that little dream has woken up, her mood has recovered a lot, and she is not so resistant to them. Since we're all going back, let's go together. If we encounter any underworld beasts on the road, we can also rub some of your glory," she said with a smile. She has also experienced this Moon Creek Valley, and there were indeed many powerful underworld beasts. These two people dared to run deep without even bringing guards, which showed that they did have some skills. However, what made her even more curious was that Emoji's interest in her came too strangely. It was as if he had known about her for a long time. "Now that it's decided, let's go back." Yuan Yin looked at Sima Yue and said with a smile. They walked out of the valley. On the way, Sima Yue learned a lot about the situation of the Great Yu dynasty from Yuan Yin. She also learned about the status of the Yuan family and the status of vast region in the Great Yu dynasty. Although Murong Hui was appreciated by Wang Ye, this could not change the current situation of vast region's lack of resources. Wang Ye also wanted Murong Hui to go to other places to be a county king, but he was rejected by Murong Hui, and the specific reason was unknown to outsiders. There are more than 100 counties in the Great Yu dynasty, and vast region is ranked at the bottom. This time, Murong Hui also used all his strength to improve the status of vast region. Before I met you, I really didn't know that a person would change so much after losing his memory. If you were the same as before, I really wouldn't dare to contact you," Yuan Yin said. "I'm an exception." Sima Yue glanced at Emoji and said. "But I think after you changed your temperament, it's not bad to get along with. You can enter the Yuan family's industry in the future," Yuan Yin said with a slightly red face. "Okay, I'll go to your tea house for tea some other day," Sima Yue responded. "Good. Then I'll invite you to the tea house for tea some other day," Yuan Yin said with a smile. "The tea in our tea house has even been praised by Emoji's old ancestor." "Emoji's old ancestor?" "Yes. It's that mysterious Lord Emoyu." Emoji's old ancestor is Emoyu? Lord? Sima Yue looked at Emoji with a horrified expression. However, her horror was not the kind of horror that Yuan Yin understood from being frightened by Emoji's identity, but because of his relationship with Emoyu. "Yes, Lord Emoyu is my old ancestor." Emoji smiled at Sima Yue, and only she could understand the deep meaning of the smile. "Since you are the descendant of Lord Emoyu, where is your old ancestor?" Sima Yue asked. "That guy wouldn't still be around here, right?" "My old ancestor's whereabouts are erratic. I'm just a little junior, so naturally I don't know where he is," Emoji said. Sima Yue breathed a sigh of relief. It's good that this guy is not here. Then she understood something and stared at Emoji, asking him with her eyes. "You're not sent by him, are you?" Emoji raised his eyebrows. "You guessed right." Sima Yue facepalmed. This guy is really speechless. She asked him not to send anyone to follow her, so he let his younger generation approach her. Even if he was discovered by others in the future, if they investigated like this, they would only find out that he knew her because he was invited to vast region by Yuan Yin, and it would not arouse the suspicion of others. Why are you looking at him like this?" Yuan Yin was not happy that Sima Yue's attention was on Emoji, and he said aloud. I just came into contact with Lord Emoyu's younger generation for the first time, and I think it's strange." Sima Yue smiled. She glared at Emoji before withdrawing her gaze, and the threat in her eyes was strong. Since he knew her identity from the beginning, he still pretended to tease her and made her worry for a while. She would settle this account with him later. Chapter 1806. Awu. All of a sudden, the roars of various underworld beasts could be heard from the mountains. Sima Yue and the rest stopped joking around and looked in that direction cautiously. Soon, deafening footsteps approached them. Obviously, those nether beasts were coming for them. And judging from the sound, there were quite a few underworld beasts. Why did these underworld beasts suddenly riot? Yuan Yin heard the movement and clenched his fist. Sima Yue leaned over to Emoji and Yuan Yin and sniffed, then her face sank and she said, "We were set up." "What's wrong?" Yuan Yin raised his arm and sniffed, and there was nothing strange about it. "There's a very faint floral scent on your bodies. You're not sensitive to smells, so you can't smell it." Sima Yue said, "This is a refined dragon-luring flower. If you sprinkle a little on your body, it will cause the underworld beasts to riot." Dragon-luring flower? Hearing this name, the faces of Emoji and Yuan Yin also changed. They sniffed carefully again and sure enough, they smelled a faint floral fragrance on them. Because they were in a forest, the air was filled with the fragrance of various flowers. If one didn't pay special attention to it, they wouldn't notice it at all. They had also heard of the dragon-luring flower before. This kind of flower fragrance would cause the spirit beasts in the vicinity to lose their minds. They would attack anyone they saw. Even if it was a sacred beast, if one's will was not firm, it would be easy for them to be confused. We haven't been in contact with anyone since we arrived at Moon Creek Valley. How did we get this? Yuan Yin was puzzled. You were safe and sound before. I think that this flower fragrance should have been scattered on the surface of the water when you dived into the cold pond. When you come out of the water, you will naturally get it. Sima Yue guessed. Yuan Yin, do you have any enemies? Yuan Yin wanted to say no, but thinking of his own family, he sighed and said, there are indeed many people in the family who want me to die. That makes sense. Sima Yue remembered that when the underworld Yin Wolf killed the Dong sisters, the person who didn't find any traces, maybe that person came to kill Yuan Yin and happened to see them. With so many nether beasts, it will be difficult for us to deal with them. Emoji said, listening to this movement, I'm afraid there are hundreds of powerful nether beasts. Did you bring any hidden guards? Sima Yue asked. No. Yuan Yin shook his head, we can't bring hidden guards when we come out for experience. If he wanted to do something, he could only rely on his own abilities. Of course, being able to get help from friends was also one of his abilities. The guards that came with me also stayed in Vast City because they came in a hurry. Sima Yue's lips twitched. Were these rules specially prepared for assassins? A dignified young master like you actually didn't bring a few powerful hidden guards with you when you went out. Wouldn't killing you be as easy as flipping one's hand? Yuan Yin understood Sima Yue's gaze and explained, only those who can grow up in such an environment can be useful to the family. No matter what, it's best to survive. All right. Your family. I can't judge, but what are we going to do now? Sima Yue said, can the two of you defeat so many nether beasts? This? Both of them shook their heads. It was okay to deal with a few or a dozen, but they didn't have the ability to fight against half of the Moon Creek Valley. They were conceded that they had some skills, but they didn't expect that there would be a situation where half of the Moon Creek Valley's nether beasts would unite. Sima Yue held her forehead. I originally thought that I could take advantage of you by going with you, but I didn't expect it to be a big trouble. You haven't touched the water of the cold pool, and you don't have the dragon luring flower on you, so you should separate from us. So that the nether beasts won't chase you. Yuan Yin said. Sima Yue looked at him and sighed, it's useful for you to say this earlier. Now that those nether beasts have locked onto me, it doesn't matter whether I have the dragon luring flower or not. I didn't expect that we would drag you down in the end. Yuan Yin looked at her apologetically. He originally invited her to leave the Moon Creek Valley with the intention of protecting her, but he didn't expect that she would bring such a big trouble. It's too late to say this now. Sima Yue said, do you two have any ideas? Fight to the death. Emoji saw Sima Yue's disapproving gaze and said with a smile, that's impossible. What can you do? Sima Yue asked. Of course, of the 36 stratagems, leaving is the best. Emoji took out a temporary array and activated it. Let's go, let's see if their speed is faster or our array is faster. Sima Yue looked at the array. If the three of them go in, they can leave for 1,000 kilometers at a time. If they come a few more times, they can also temporarily get rid of those nether beasts. She took back Little Dream and the others to reduce the load of the teleportation array. Emoji and Yuan Yin discovered that Little Dream was also one of her contracted beasts. How much strength did she have? She could contract so many nether beasts. The two were curious, but now was not the time to study this. The three stepped into the teleportation array and disappeared in front of the nether beasts before they came. Woo woo, the nether beasts who had lost their minds were stunned for a while. They couldn't think now, but they were puzzled by the situation in front of them. A woo, a nether beast let out a long roar and continued to chase in the direction of the exit with the other nether beasts. That direction was the direction where Sima Yue and the others left. As soon as the three of them came out of the teleportation array, they heard a roar coming from behind. This dragon luring flower is really powerful. Even if we are in the teleportation array, we can't stop the fragrance of the flower from spreading in the air. Yuan Yin sighed. The reason why the dragon luring flower is called the dragon luring flower is that even the dragon race can't resist its smell. This is also a refined flower fragrance. Using it here is a waste of talent. Sima Yue said. Let's go. Emoji opened another temporary teleportation array, and the three of them went in and soon disappeared. When the nether beast chased after them, the aura of the remaining three people disappeared. Woo, the leading one sniffed in the air, found the right direction, and chased after them with the nether beasts. In this way the three of them fled, and the nether beasts chased after them. Later, more and more nether beasts joined in the chase. The vibration in the inner circle of Moon Creek Valley shocked those who were guarding outside, and they all guessed if something had happened in the inner circle. At first, Mog and the others planned to escape outside, but after finding that they couldn't get rid of the nether beasts, they had no choice but to run in other directions. If these nether beasts were lured out, they were afraid that those people outside would die. When they came out of the teleportation array again, the three of them saw a familiar place, and they couldn't help but twitch the corners of their mouths. Wasn't this the cold pond where they fell into the dragon luring flower? They didn't expect to come back to this place after going around in circles. There's something. Emoji opened his mouth, and when he heard his tone, Yuan Yin had a bad premonition in his heart. Chapter 1807. Emoji sighed and said, I don't have a temporary teleportation array anymore. Without the temporary teleportation array, they could no longer use this method to escape. Strange, why are those nether beasts attacking us and not coming here? Yuan Yin looked at the cold pool and thought that when they were at the bottom of the pool, someone actually sprinkled dragon luring flowers on it, and he was furious. The dragon luring flower is useless in water. Only when it's on a person's body and mixed with the person's body temperature can its fragrance be stimulated. Sima Yue explained. Suddenly she paused. She looked at the cold pond and smiled. I have an idea. By the time the underworld beasts chased after them, the figures of the three people were no longer at the edge of the cold pond, and the water surface was still rippling. Sima Yue and the other two came to the bottom of the pool, and Moji's spiritual power circle wrapped around her to prevent her from being frostbitten by the cold air of the cold pool. The two of them were immersed in the water. Are we going to stay under the water? Yuan Yin asked. It was fine for a short period of time, but as time passed they would also suffer. The water can block out the fragrance of the dragon luring flower. They will no longer be confused by the fragrance. They will wake up after a while and leave this place. Sima Yue said. And after that? If we go out again we'll smell the flowers again. If we go out again won't we provoke those nether beasts again? Sima Yue tilted her head and thought for a while. She then pointed at the bottom of the cliff. Get out of here? Sima Yue nodded. The surface of the cold pond looked very small, but the bottom of the pond was very wide. There seemed to be a cave in one place. Perhaps there really was a path that led to another place. Then let's give it a try. Emoji took Sima Yue and swam over there. Yuan Yin followed closely behind. They swam all the way forward and swam for almost a few hundred meters. The space in front of them was getting smaller and smaller. They couldn't tolerate two people walking side by side. Emoji had to walk in front by himself, let Sima Yue walk in the middle and Yuan Yin walk behind. After walking for a few hundred meters, the path ahead gradually widened, and the three of them could finally walk side by side. It's wide here again, let's go up and take a look. Yuan Yin pointed to the top of his head. It was dark up there and he didn't know what was going on up there. Emoji took Sima Yue upstream. After swimming for nearly 100 meters, they finally approached the surface of the water. Hua! 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 The three of them got out of the water, and Emoji and Yuan Yin subconsciously reached out to wipe the water on their faces. Suddenly they felt a hot air blowing on their faces. When they opened their eyes they saw a huge face in front of them. That hot air was just the other party's breath. Sima Yue was in the middle and her body was already stiff. She blinked and didn't dare to move. She looked at him and said, Well, we accidentally barged in. Please don't be angry. Oh. Her hot breath hit his face. She made his nerves tense. Emoji and Yuan Yin were also stunned. The face was a little further away, and they all saw its gaze clearly. Black dragon. Yuan Yin wanted to cry but had no tears. How could they be so lucky to encounter a rare black dragon? This was a huge cave. The black dragon's body was still on the shore. After seeing Sima Yue, it stuck its head out of the water and looked at her closely. Now that it had left them, they recognized its identity. Who? The black dragon's head hung down again and came to Sima Yue. It stuck out its tongue and licked her face and then rubbed it on her face. Sima Yue's body was even stiffer. Who could tell her what was going on? Was she being molested by a dragon? Yu, you're finally here. The black dragon wrapped around her body a few times and rolled her up into the air. Sima Yue was so scared that she quickly hugged its body. That Shenlong, you put me down, I'm dizzy? Sima Yue asked when she saw that it didn't mean to hurt her. This guy didn't seem to be hurt now, but if he let her go later, she didn't know if she would die or be disabled. The black dragon didn't seem to hear her words. Suddenly a pair of wings opened on its back, and after putting her on its back, it flew up in the cave. As it flew, it shouted, and the sound penetrated the mountain and spread all the way to the outside. All the beasts in Moon Creek Valley were stunned, and then they all crawled in this direction. The king woke up and all the beasts worshipped him. Sima Yue didn't know anything about the situation outside. She only knew that this guy seemed to be very happy and his voice sounded cheerful. It seemed that he had no intention of throwing her down. Listening to it, she also laughed, reached out and hugged the black dragon's body, and pressed her body against its back. Yuan Yen and Emoji looked up at the one person and one beast in the air. Yuan Yen pinched his shoulder and murmured, "It doesn't hurt, I really have hallucinations." Emoji was a little calmer than him. He patted off the hand pinching his arm and said, "You pinched me, of course it doesn't hurt." Yuan Yen realized that he was not pinching himself at all. It seems that the black dragon doesn't intend to hurt her. Let's go ashore first. If we continue to freeze, our bodies won't be able to stand it. Emoji said as he walked towards the shore. After going ashore, he dried the water vapor on his body. Yuan Yen also followed, and after the two of them fiddled with themselves, the black dragon landed with Sima Yue. Ong. The black dragon let Sima Yue go down, and with a shake of his body, he turned into a little black dragon more than 1 meter long, rubbing against Sima Yue's body. What's going on? Sima Yue stroked the little black dragon's head and said, "I don't know either. It's also the first time I've seen it. It seems to have mistaken me for someone else." Don't you remember me?" The little black dragon said aggrievedly, "I have been passing down from generation to generation, just waiting for you to come back." "Black dragon, are you sure you're not mistaken? I'm not the person you're waiting for, am I? It's my first time here." Sima Yue said. "How is that possible? I can't be mistaken." The black dragon was so excited that it bit Sima Yue's arm. Sima Yue only felt a force drilling into her body, and then a picture appeared in her mind. In the picture there was a woman and a little black dragon. Everything was so clear. Later, the woman left and the little black dragon waited for her here, but it didn't see her until it died. Before it died, it sealed its memory into the body of the next generation, becoming an inheritance. From generation to generation until now, this little guy was waiting for her. And that woman was the woman who had entangled with the Azure Waves Emperor. The black lotus on her back and the black lotus on her hand were also connected to her. She didn't expect to meet a black dragon who had been waiting for her here. Why are you? Seeing Sima Yue's face was a little ugly, Yuan Yen wanted to come over and support her, but was blocked by a black light. Contracted. Chapter 1808. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book web, update quickly, no pop-up window, read for free. Emoji and Yuan Yen looked at Sima Yue and the black dragon shrouded in black light and couldn't react. The development of this matter was too inexplicable. Why did she encounter a black dragon, and the other party directly contracted with her? Were all the underworld beasts so easy to contract now? Why didn't they encounter such a good thing? After a while, the light of the contract slowly dissipated, and then she was shrouded in the light of promotion. Middle stage underworld demon master, late stage underworld demon master, early stage underworld demon master, middle stage underworld demon master, late stage underworld demon master. She directly crossed a big level. What kind of system did she have, that a contract could actually make her advance? The two of them didn't know whether this was the result of her efforts to suppress it. If she continued to advance, her soul body would not be able to bear it. She transferred her power to the soul pagoda, and the soul pagoda bore this part of the power. The dried-up soul pagoda began to change greatly. The dying plants were restored to vitality, the sky was completely changed to the previous azure blue, and the areas shrouded in fog were restored to their usual appearance. Only the sleeping beasts were still not awake. You. The crisp child's voice was filled with nostalgia, making Sima Yue's heart tremble. "Little spirit, you woke up." "Yeah, I woke up. The spiritual power you transferred helped me recover a lot." Little spirit said, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. I'll find a chance to see you." Sima Yue suppressed her excitement and couldn't wait to go in and see him immediately. "Well, I'll wait for you. The soul pagoda is in a mess, I have to tidy it up." After Little Spirit finished speaking, he went to work on the soul pagoda. Yuan Yin and Emoji saw the smile on her face. It didn't seem to be because of the contract with a black dragon, but it seemed to have a kind of relief, a kind of bond. How do you feel? Why are you smiling so strangely?" Sima Yue did not restrain the smile on her face, but she was in a good mood now. I'm fine. I'm so happy to be able to contract the little black dragon. She stroked the little black dragon's head and happily said. The little black dragon intimately rubbed against her hand, just like its ancestors had done. I didn't expect that when I finally saw a black dragon, it actually contracted with you. This is really fantastic. Yuan Yin stared straight at the little black dragon, and the envy and jealousy in his eyes were undisguised. Hee, this is called fate. Sima Yue looked at him proudly. This eggshell is still very new. Was it just born? Emoji saw the eggshell in the corner. There was still some mucus inside. It looked very fresh. The little black dragon jumped over, rolled up the two eggshells, and dragged them in front of Sima Yue. Yu, this is for you. It looked at Sima Yue eagerly. This is very useful. Sima Yue looked at the eggshell that was still taller than her even if it was split into two. You want to give it to me? Yeah. The little black dragon nodded. You put it away. The black dragon's eggshell is extremely hard. If you put it away, it will be of great use in the future. Emoji said. Thank you, little black dragon. Sima Yue put away the eggshell. As long as Yu likes it. The little black dragon happily turned around twice, rolling Sima Yue in the middle. Why does the little black dragon call you Yu? Yuan Yin looked at her doubtfully. Sima Yue's body stiffened and she explained with a smile, it treats me as the person in its inheritance. It's probably because you look like that person so it will contract with you. Emoji said, anyway it's better than it being our enemy. That's right. Little black dragon, we're going out. Can we get outside from here? Sima Yue asked. Hey Yin, you forgot my name. Hey Yin said unhappily. Well, hey Yin, do you know there's a way out here? Sima Yue asked. I've never left here. So I don't know how to get outside. Hey Yin said apologetically. It doesn't matter. Sima Yue touched its head. Although it has many inheritances, it has no memory of leaving here. Since this is a cave, there should be a way out. Let's try going out of the cave. Emoji said. Yu, don't be afraid, I can protect you. The little black dragon said. Well, I'll wait for you to protect me. Sima Yue responded, but she didn't take this to heart. Its strength is not like that of a newborn beast. Emoji said, his parents should have injected their power into him, who is still in the eggshell. That's why I can advance so much. Sima Yue shook her hand, she still couldn't control the power in her body very well. Suddenly getting so much power, you will feel uncontrollable. Yuan Yin said, when you get used to it, you will know the beauty of mastering power. Yeah. Let's go out. Sima Yue let Hei Yin turn into a smaller mimicry. Hei Yin turned into a small black snake and wrapped it around Sima Yue's wrist. Sima Yue looked at his satisfied appearance. She didn't know if the two would have a dispute over the place after the little golden snake woke up. They set off from the entrance of the cave and soon left the cave and came outside. When they went out, they were shocked by the situation outside. Thousands of underworld beasts were gathered outside, all crawling on the ground. Seeing them, the beasts were a little confused. They clearly felt the strong aura of the underworld beasts. How could it be 3 ghost clan members who came out? Where is the king of my clan? The leader of the underworld beasts was a tiger, which was also a sacred beast. What are you all doing around here? Hurry up and disperse. The little black dragon raised his head from Sima Yue's wrist and reprimanded with dissatisfaction. My lord, we are here to worship. Before Ming who could finish his words, he was sent flying by Hei Yan's tail. He got up from the ground and left with the beasts dejectedly. Hei Yan waved his tail at Sima Yue, looking like a guy who deserved praise. Sima Yue touched his tail and praised, Hei Yan is so powerful, use him to protect me in the future. Yeah. Hei Yan happily returned to her hand. Murong Hui's anxious voice came from afar. Sima Yue looked over and saw Murong Hui running over with a group of guards. Father, why are you here? Wasn't he dealing with the matter of the mineral vein? Murong Hui flew over and saw that she was intact. He was relieved and said, I saw that something seemed to have happened in the inner region. I was worried that you would encounter those rioting underworld beasts, so I came to find you. Sima Yue felt a warm current in her heart. She went up and took Murong Hui's arm and said, the riot was caused by these 2 guys, but it has been resolved now. That's good. Murong Hui was relieved and felt that there was a change in the space ring. He took out the Sun Mother stone, and the voice of the housekeeper immediately came from inside. Master, come back quickly, something happened to the mineral vein. Chapter 1809. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book web, update quickly, no pop-up window, free to read. Something happened to the mineral vein. Murong Lin's words made Murong Hui and Sima Yue nervous. This mineral vein was found by them with great difficulty, and they can't let others get away with it. Let's rush over now. Murong Hui cut off the connection and called out his flying beast to go over. Dad, the mineral vein is too far away from here. We may not be able to get there in time. Sima Yue stopped him and said, Do you have any other way? Murong Hui asked. Yes, Emoji, help me. Sima Yue said. Emoji raised his eyebrows. This guy is very handy when using me. However, he still helped her arrange a teleportation array. This kind of teleportation array was not difficult for him. With the help of Sima Yue, the teleportation array was arranged in half an hour. Everyone entered the teleportation array and soon disappeared from their original place. When they came out of the teleportation array, they saw the guards of the Duke Mansion fighting with a group of black-clothed people. You stay here, the others come with me. Invaders will be killed without mercy. A-class equals __sef email _ref equals /cdncgi/l /email protection. Email protected replied and led the guards to join the battle. Sima Yue wanted to help, but was stopped by Yuan Yin. Your father is very powerful, don't get involved. Stay here obediently, we are here to protect you. Sima Yue wanted to say that she had a contract beast, but seeing that Emoji was also looking at her disapprovingly, and the battle situation over there was also reversed because of the addition of Murong Hui and the others, she did not insist. These people don't look like people from vast region. Emoji observed those people for a while and said, If I guess right, these people may be the 7th prince's people. Sima Yue said, Do you know the 7th prince? 7th prince? Why do you guess it's him? He has never interfered in these things. Yuan Yin didn't believe it. Are you close to him? Sima Yue turned to look at him. Not really, but the 7th prince has a good reputation in the Great Yu dynasty. It is said that the 7th prince is gentle and refined, treats people gently, and rarely participates in these political affairs. Yuan Yin said, I have also seen him several times and it is indeed like the rumors. Sima Yue turned her head and continued to watch the battle between Murong Hui and the man in black. She said, Have you forgotten what the master of the Shao family said in the array? If the 7th prince is really as good as you say, these things wouldn't have happened. Okay. Yuan Yin also remembered that matter, so it seemed that this might indeed be his doing. It seems that the rumors are true. Wang Ye's body is injured and he has not recovered from his serious injuries. All the princes are ready to make a move. Emoji murmured. Dad didn't want to get involved in this, but he was dragged into it. Sima Yue sighed. Although vast region is not very powerful, if you get your father's support, it is equivalent to getting your mother's support. Wang Ye will more or less consider this when passing on the throne. Yuan Yin said, Once your father is unwilling to stand in line, those princes will naturally want to do something to your father in order not to let others get it. My mother. Alas, I don't know if Dad regrets marrying a person with such a high status now. If possible, I think he would prefer my mother to be an ordinary person. Sima Yue said. Your mother's identity really makes people think. After all, your uncle's support is too influential. Emoji said. Is my uncle also a Wang Ye? Sima Yue asked. Yes, but your uncle's dynasty is much more powerful than the Great Yu dynasty. You will slowly come into contact with these in the future. Emoji said. Sima Yue nodded, and only the two of them understood the meaning. The battle lasted for more than an hour. Although it was difficult, all the black-clothed men were killed. Dad, how are you? Sima Yue flew over and saw Murong Hui covered in blood, worried about his injury. I'm fine, it's just some skin wounds. Murong Hui touched his right arm and black blood flowed out from his fingers. Dad, you're bleeding, let's bandage the wound first. Sima Yue took out white gauze, bandaged his arm briefly and then gave him a medicinal pill. The other injured guards were also bandaged. Although their losses were more serious, they also kept the mineral vein. Sima Yue saw that Murong Lin was also injured, and after bandaging Murong Hui, she went to bandage him. Uncle Lin, how are you? I'm fine. Thank you, Mississippi. Uncle Lin, how is Shao family? Sima Yue asked. When she and Murong Hui came to Moon Creek Valley, Murong Lin stayed in the city to meet them. After confirming that it was Shao family, he took people to destroy Shao family. Then he rushed here with people to support Murong Hui. It was because of his arrival that Murong Hui took time out to find her in the inner region. Murong Lin knew that she had a good relationship with Xiao Ruabai and said, Xiao family is gone. Is that so? Sima Yue had already guessed the result. What about Ruobai? Do you have her whereabouts? We sent people to check after receiving the news. She should have been taken to King City. Murong Lin said, King City is heavily guarded. I'm afraid it will be more difficult to find out her specific whereabouts. Just know that she's still alive. There's no need to check anymore. Sima Yue pursed her lips and asked them not to continue. Murong Hui went to count the number of people, arranged the guards to keep watch and let others rest. After doing all this, he came to Sima Yue and said, It will take a while for things here to be over. I'll let you send you back. No need, father, I'll go back with them. Sima Yue knew that there were a lot of things here. She didn't have so much time to waste here. Returning to the Duke mansion would be better for her cultivation. Murong Hui was a little worried, but seeing her insistence, he no longer said anything and let her go back with Emoji and the others. Sima Yue returned to Vast City and couldn't wait to return to the Duke mansion. When she heard Yuan Yen behind her say that he would come to find her later, she didn't turn around to answer. Back at the Duke mansion, Ting Shan and Ting Shui were very happy to hear the news of her return. After all, they heard that the journey to Moon Creek Valley was not peaceful. After Sima Yue asked the two of them some questions, she went back to her room alone, and no one was allowed to disturb her. After setting up a barrier, she entered the Spirit Pagoda. Yu. Little Spirit felt it the moment she came in, and with a thought, he appeared in her arms. Sima Yue hugged him and kissed him on the cheek. Little Spirit, you finally woke up. I missed you so much. I missed you too. Little Spirit rarely showed his emotions, and hugged Sima Yue's neck and refused to let go. Sima Yue looked at the restored order of the Spirit Pagoda, and sighed that he was still needed here. Little Spirit loosened her a little after a while and said, By the way, your father and the others have also woken up. Do you want to see them? Chapter 1810. 1 second to remember, Love divided by you? Read book web no pop-up window free to read. Sima Yue's eyes lit up. Father and the rest are awake? Yes. They woke up with me. Now everyone is awake except for Little Seven and the rest. Little Spirit said. Then let's go and see Father. Sima Yue carried Little Spirit to the living area, which had been restored to its original state. Young miss. Sima Lu Xian and Enlei saw her and ran over excitedly. Father Enlei. Sima Yue hugged Sima Lu Xian. You're finally awake. How are you? What's going on? Sima Lu Xian hugged Sima Yue and felt that she was a little different. What's wrong with your body? Father, don't worry, I'm fine now. Sima Yue let go of him and held his arm instead. How can you be fine? The Spirit Pagoda almost collapsed and your contracted beasts are all asleep. Do you think your words are convincing? Sima Lu Xian glared at her. Don't try to fool me. Tell me honestly, did something happen to you in the Sage Pavilion? Are we still in the Sage Pavilion? We're not in the Sage Pavilion now. Sima Yue glanced at him carefully. Well, we're in the Ghost Realm now. What? We're in the Ghost Realm now. Sima Lu Xian and Enlei were shocked by this news. Why are we in the Ghost Realm? Did you use the method that Mou taught you? Didn't you say that you need to increase your strength before you can do it? Sima Lu Xian asked. Seeing Sima Yue pursed her lips and didn't say anything, he frowned. What's going on? Well, actually it's nothing, it's just that, during the battle in the Sage Pavilion I couldn't control the power in my body and exploded, and died. Father, don't worry, I'm fine. Sima Yue saw Sima Lu Xian's face turn pale and quickly comforted him. You're already dead and you call this fine? Sima Lu Xian touched her cheek. It's all Father's fault, I didn't protect you well. Father, I'm actually not dead. Sima Yue said, my body seems to have been saved by someone, but my soul can't return, so it can only be considered an out-of-body experience. When my ghost cultivation reaches a certain level, I will be able to fuse with my body. No wonder all your contracted beasts fell into a deep slumber. Enlei sighed. One had to know that in her situation, it was already a miracle that her contracted beast was still alive. What happened that day? Don't hide it from me, tell me everything. Sima Lu Xian looked at her, not allowing her to escape or lie. Sima Yue had no choice but to tell her everything that had happened that day. After Sima Lu Xian finished listening, he was silent for a long time before he sighed faintly. The prophecy said that you would be the one to destroy the Sage Pavilion, so they killed all female spirit masters everywhere, causing you to disguise as a man for so many years. I didn't expect that after going around in circles, they would still be destroyed by you. It's just that the price to pay is too heavy for you. Actually, it's not that bad. Sima Yue smiled. Haven't we always wanted to enter the ghost realm? This isn't the most above-board way to do it. And it's nothing for me, I just need to cultivate again. Cultivate again is just a few words. But it's easier said than done. Sima Lu Xian looked at his daughter with heartache. Why did she have to suffer so much? Ghost cultivation seems to have to cultivate the soul, body and spirit power. Anlei looked at Sima Yue sympathetically. How hard must it be? Actually, I just need to cultivate the soul body. Sima Yue said, I was saved by my ancestor before I came to the ghost realm. He sealed his power into my body. As long as I cultivate the soul body, the sealed power will naturally be unlocked. And I'm very familiar with the cultivation method of cultivating the soul body. It's a method that Ling Yu gave me to cultivate the soul. That's good. So, Father, you don't have to worry about me. Sima Yue smiled, took down the black rock and said, Look at the spirit beast that I contracted in the ghost realm. It's a black dragon. This is the dragon clan second only to the green dragon. How is it, isn't it powerful? Not bad. There's also Little Purple. Sima Yue called Little Purple over. Look at Little Purple, it's the top grade purple lightning in my body, now it's also transformed. So I'm still doing well in the ghost realm. Sima Lu Xian smiled and nodded. He knew that she did this to let him not be so worried, so he pretended not to be worried. By the way, Father, there are ghost clansmen outside now. You'll be noticed if you go out. So you'll have to stay in the spirit pagoda for the rest of the time. It's okay. You're so good here you can cultivate well outside. Sima Lu Xian said, But if you encounter any danger you must let us out. Can't be like the last time. I will. Really, Father, you have to believe me. Seeing Sima Lu Xian's distrustful gaze, she almost raised her hand to swear. Your credibility is not good. Sima Lu Xian glanced at her, he still didn't believe her. Sima Yue pulled his arm and shook it and said coquettishly, Father, don't be like this, I promise that I'll call you if I'm in danger next time. I won't put myself in that situation again. I'll believe you once more. Sima Lu Xian poked her forehead with a doting look. Father, let's find a place to sit and talk, I have a lot to say to you. I'll make tea. After Anlei finished speaking, she turned and went to Sima Yue's tea room. The forgotten little spirit saw that her excitement had passed. He ran into her arms, picked up Little Purple and threw it out. Yu's arms were his place. Other beasts had to step aside. Little Purple was sleeping comfortably and was suddenly thrown out like this. It was very angry when it woke up. It screamed and then pounced on Little Spirit. Pfft. Little Spirit rolled his eyes and with a thought, Little Purple was thrown to some corner. He was the most powerful here. So what if Little Purple was famous outside? In the end he was still flung away by a single thought. After clearing the obstacle, he rubbed against Sima Yue's arms with satisfaction. Sima Yue patted his head and said, Naughty. Now tell me, how long have you been in the ghost realm? What have you experienced? How is your situation? Does Anaheim know that you're here? Sima Lu Xian asked. I don't know. But I've already met Mou and my cousin, and I've also recognized a godfather. That day when I arrived in the ghost realm. Sima Yue told everything that happened after she arrived in the ghost realm. Hearing her experience, Anlei was stunned and murmured, Miss, they're right, things really happen wherever you go. Sima Lu Xian was much calmer. He looked at her and asked, What are you going to do next? Chapter 1811. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book web, update fast, no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue had already made arrangements for the future. When Sima Lu Xian asked, she replied, Cultivate, cultivate, cultivate. My strength is too low now, so I must cultivate first. And I haven't fully controlled the power obtained from the contract with Black Cliff, so I have to familiarize myself with it. Cultivation is indeed the most important thing now. If Anaheim or others discover your identity, at least you have the strength to resist. Sima Lu Xian said. Yes. And Godfather's current situation is not good. Since I used the identity of his daughter, I have to bear the responsibility of his daughter and accompany him through this difficult period. When my strength improves, I can go find my cousin and then save my mother. Sima Lu Xian's gaze fluctuated for a moment when he heard about saving her mother, but soon returned to calmness. Don't worry about saving your mother. If she is here, you will also put your own safety first. I know, Father. Sima Yue smiled, knowing that Sima Lu Xian was more anxious than her. She chatted with Sima Lu Xian in the Spirit Pagoda for a long time and left some books about the Ghost Realm for Sima Lu Xian and Anlei before going out. If she wants to cultivate, she can't stay in the spirit pagoda. It can't provide her with cultivation resources. She removed the enchantment, and Ting Shan and Ting Shui outside immediately noticed. Miss, do you have any orders? No. I need to cultivate. You don't have to guard me. Inform me when Father or Uncle Lin comes back. Sima Yue suddenly paused. Forget it, I will go out first. I will start cultivating when I come back. She left Vast City alone and came to the suburbs. She found a place where no one was around, called Little Purple out and asked, "Why didn't I experience the thunder tribulation last time?" Little Purple tilted its head to the side and ignored her. This woman was Little Spirit's accomplice, she only knew how to bully it. Sima Yue rolled her eyes. This arrogant guy was hurt, it was really troublesome to coax it. After saying a lot of good words and promising a lot of benefits, Little Purple finally stopped giving her the back of its head. Okay, can you tell me now? Why didn't I experience the thunder tribulation last time? That's all thanks to me. Little Z stared at her. After all, those two people are not familiar with each other. It's not good to let them know your secret. That's why they suppressed you. I've been so good to you, yet you and Little Spirit bullied me. How could I? Isn't that a way to improve your relationship? Sima Yue coaxed. Since the lightning tribulation has been suppressed by you, does that mean that I don't have to go through the lightning tribulation? In your dreams. The suppression is only temporary. It won't disappear just because it's suppressed. You still have to experience it yourself. Little Purple gloated. Moreover, the longer you suppress it, the stronger the rebound of the lightning tribulation will be. Now that you've suppressed it for more than half a month, I reckon the lightning tribulation has only doubled. *CKU. Sima Yue wanted to strangle Little Purple when she saw how proud it was. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I forgot. Little Z licked her claws calmly, and you know, I don't have a grandpa. Sima Yue, she was too lazy to care about this guy. She mobilized the spiritual power in her body, and soon the tribulation clouds gathered above her. Seeing the sky getting darker and darker, a touch of helplessness flashed in her eyes. Every time she advanced, she would be struck by lightning. When would it end? Pa, the lightning fell. Because Little Purple was here, the cloud spirit did not go easy on her. Every lightning bolt hit her solidly. Even if Murong Hui was here, he didn't think that he could take a few. As usual, Little Purple absorbed most of it, and she bore a small part of it to forge her body. Even so, when she finished the lightning tribulation, she could only lie on the ground, and she didn't even have the strength to move. A pair of silver-white boots stopped beside her. Then Moji's evil face came into her sight. Why are you here? She lay on the ground and had no intention of getting up. Anyway, he had already seen her like this. Her image had long been thrown to Java. The old ancestor said that if he saw someone being struck by lightning, it must be you, an unlucky and miserable person. I didn't believe it before, but now it seems that you are really unlucky. I guess you are the first ghost to be struck by lightning. Emoji smiled at the corner of his mouth. Seeing Sima Yue going through the tribulation thunder and now her dark appearance, he felt a little funny. I'm definitely not the first, but I should be the unlucky one. Sima Yue replied, since you are here, then I won't be polite. Take me out of here. You know how to order me around. Emoji chuckled, not angry at her request. What if I didn't come? If no one comes, there is a plan for no one to come. If someone comes, there is a plan for someone to come. Sima Yue said, if we don't leave now, we will be surrounded by people. Emoji curled his lips, bent down and picked her up, took out the one-time teleportation array, and took her out of the range of the lightning tribulation. The news that the lightning tribulation appeared outside Liao City again spread quickly. If one time was a coincidence, the excuse of 2 times was useless. Everyone was curious about who was going through the tribulation nearby, so they rushed over. But all that was left for them was a messy valley. Because Sima Yue was injured, Emoji did not take her back to the Duke's mansion, but took her to the place where he stayed. He put her on the bed and said, I'll find a maid to apply medicine for you. No need. I'm not used to strangers touching my body. Sima Yue refused. If someone came to do it for her, wouldn't her physique be exposed? Emoji raised his eyebrows as if to say, why did he bring her back? Sima Yue blushed slightly, that was different. But now her whole body was as black as coal, and her blush couldn't be seen. Hee hee, Emoji chuckled, since you don't want to then forget it. Take the pill. Sima Yue took his pill and felt the pain in her body lessen a lot. The effect of this pill of yours is really good. How can the Mo clan's pill be bad? Emoji pulled a chair and sat down by the bed. Emo clan? So you are a race. I thought it was a family. Sima Yue said. You don't know? Didn't the old ancestor tell you? No. When we were together, most of the time we discussed tea art and then he taught me some dark skills. He didn't say much about his identity. The old ancestor actually taught you dark skills? We don't even get this treatment. Emoji said as if he was jealous. He really treats you better than us. He asked you to protect me and you agreed? You don't look like such an obedient person. Emoji's mouth twitched. Did he look like a disobedient person? Actually, the old ancestor promised me a request, so I came to try. Chapter 1812. Remember in a second, love divided by you? Read book web, updated quickly, no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue was a little curious. What would Mou promise Emoji that he would be willing to approach her? He said that if I came to protect you, the people in the clan would not be able to interfere in my marriage in the future. Emoji said. Sima Yue laughed out loud. Do you still think about such things as marriage? Most people don't, but those who are selected as the successors of the Mo clan have to marry the women arranged by the clan. I didn't like this arrangement since I was a child, so as long as I protect you, I don't have to marry you. Emoji said. And what? The old ancestor said that you are an interesting person and will not let me down or be bored. If I find that you are not good after coming here, if you don't want to, you can go back in advance. Emoji said, but the old ancestor knows me very well. You are indeed more interesting than I thought. It's interesting because of your teasing. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. At that time he clearly knew her identity, but he still teased her like that. If it weren't for her strong heart, she would have been scared to death by him. I just want to see how you will react in this situation. If you panic or ask the old ancestor for help, then I will be very disappointed. As a result, you didn't react at all. Emoji said. If she panicked and asked the old ancestor for help at that time, he might not be here now. Sima Yue didn't want to express her opinion on him teasing her for fun, otherwise she was afraid that she couldn't help but beat him. By the way, you remember to send someone to the Duke's mansion to say something, otherwise Ting Shan and Ting Shui will be worried. She reminded him. You are quite concerned about Murongxi's maids. They are very good to me. Let them know so that they won't worry. But they are worried about Murongxi, not you. At least I am the one who is suffering now. Sima Yue said, if they find out that I am not Murongxi in the future, then I will naturally not treat them well. At least it is good now. Emoji stared at her for a long time. No one knew what he was thinking. Then without saying a word, he turned around and went out. This guy left just like that. I wonder if he'll go. She muttered and closed her eyes to rest. She recuperated here for 2 days and recovered from her injuries. Emoji was astonished at this speed. Thank you so much. Sima Yue thanked him. Although she wouldn't have been discovered if he hadn't come, she still appreciated his help. It's not sincere to say that. Emoji stared at her with a smile. Sima Yue was startled. Did he want her to thank him? Did he have to be so shameless? The patriarch said that your tea skills are better than his. I wonder if I'll be lucky enough to drink your tea? Sima Yue blinked. That's it. What else do you think? Emoji asked back, the raised corners of his mouth showing his good mood. What kind of tea do you want? I prefer green tea. Sima Yue nodded. The two of them went to the pavilion in the courtyard. She took out the tea set and began to boil water to wash the cups. When she was done, the water was also boiling. She began to make tea again. Emoji looked at her smooth movements, elegant and flirtatious. Even just looking at her, he felt that it was a kind of enjoyment. Please. Sima Yue put the teacup in front of him. He picked up the teacup and a fragrance came to his nose. It was very different from the fragrance in the past. He took a sip gently. The fragrance overflowed his lips and teeth, and then spread to his whole body. He seemed to feel comfortable. It's really good tea. No wonder the patriarch likes the tea you make so much. He thought the patriarch was exaggerating before, but he didn't expect it to be so delicious. You are very similar to Mou in many ways, even the way you taste tea is very similar. Sima Yue said, are you very liked by him? Emoji raised his eyebrows. Was it that obvious? But the patriarch is often not in the clan and I rarely go back these years. The number of times I see him is much less. It's not easy to see him, but he wants me to protect a little girl like you. Thinking about it, I still feel a little stifled. He sighed. You obviously came because of that deal. Don't say it as if you are unwilling. Sima Yue exposed him. You saw through me. A guard walked in from outside. Seeing the two of them drinking tea in the pavilion, the young master was smiling more happily than before. He hesitated to come forward. Emoji noticed him and frowned slightly. If there was nothing urgent, he wouldn't come in. What happened? Young master, the Dong family went to the Duke's mansion and wanted to see Miss Shi. Because the Duke and Miss Shi are not here, they are causing trouble. The guard replied. Emoji asked them to pay attention to the matters of the Duke's mansion, so he came when he heard the news. Sima Yue's hand that was holding the teacup paused. Her aura turned cold as she looked at the guard and said, The Dong family is causing trouble in the Duke's mansion? Yes, they injured a lot of the guards of the Duke's mansion. The guard felt that Sima Yue suddenly seemed to have changed into a different person and looked at her with some doubts. They dare to hit the people of my Duke's mansion. The Dong family is really good. I'll go back first. She put the teacup on the table. When she left, the teacup directly cracked. Emoji looked at her back as she left, then looked at the broken teacup and shook his head slightly. Such a good tea set, what a pity. What else did you not say? Young master, the reason why the Dong family dared to go to the Duke's mansion to cause trouble is because someone from the Prince of Great Yu's mansion came. The guard replied. In that case, the Dong family is very confident. This girl, if she went back like this, wouldn't she be at a disadvantage? Why didn't she ask me for help? He murmured. He later found that Sima Yue was not the kind of person who was used to relying on others. She liked to experience her own things. Even if she knew that it was difficult, she would still go forward. Young master, Murong Hui and the housekeeper are not in the Duke's mansion. If Miss Shi goes back, she will face those people directly. I don't know if it will be dangerous. Shall we go and take a look? This guard has been with Emoji since he was a child, and he knew very well the purpose of him coming to protect Sima Yue this time. Seeing Sima Yue running back alone, he was worried that she couldn't handle it alone. Go, of course we have to go and see how she is going to deal with these people. Emoji was a little bothered by the fact that he was ignored by Sima Yue in front of her, and he was also worried that she couldn't handle those people. However, we can't go directly, it will make people suspicious. What has Yuan Yan been doing these 2 days? Sima Yue called out Xiao He and rode him back to the Duke's mansion quickly. Before she got close, she heard a loud bang from there. Turning the corner, she saw the Duke's mansion that was missing its gate in the cold wind. Chapter 1813. 1 second to remember. Love divided by you? Read book web no pop-up window free to read. The smoke and dust had yet to disperse. The guards of the Duke Manor saw that the door had been blasted open and stood at the door angrily, not allowing these people to take a step in. The two sides were in a stalemate. Sima Yue looked at the empty door and mourned for 3 seconds for the door of the Duke Manor. Why was this door always the one that was injured? I'll count to 3. If you still don't hand over Murong Shi, I won't just blast this door. A short fat man rode on a huge underworld beast and looked down at the guards of the Duke Manor condescendingly. We've already said that Miss is not in the manor. If you continue to be aggressive, don't blame us for being impolite. Ting Shan stood in front of the guards and looked at the short fat man without fear. Impolite? I'd like to see how impolite you are. The short fat man looked at Ting Shan. You dare to challenge the Duke Manor? Do you want to die? This little girl is not bad. If you're willing to follow me, I'll spare your life. How about it? Bah. You want me to follow you when you're so short and poor? Why don't you look in the mirror and see what you look like? My miss said that it doesn't matter if you're ugly, but it's not good to scare people. Ting Shan put her hands on her hips and suppressed the short fat man. Haha, the guards of the Duke Manor laughed. They never knew that Ting Shan, who had always looked quiet, would actually scold people. You're courting death. The short fat man was annoyed and took out a long spear to stab her. Ting Shan retreated and easily dodged his attack. The short fat man was even angrier when his attack failed. He shouted at the Dong family, capture all the people of the Duke Manor. Today I'll teach these guys who don't know the rules on behalf of the Duke Manor. Sima Yue saw the Dong family surrounding the people of the Duke Manor and wanted to make a move. She walked over and said, I'll see who dares. Where did this cat and dog come from? How dare you teach the people of the Duke Manor a lesson? Who are you? It was the first time that the short fatty had seen Sima Yue. He was attracted by her appearance and aura, and his eyes were filled with obscene light. Who am I? Didn't you come to find me? Blackie led her into the encirclement of the Dong family and came to the front of the guards of the Duke Manor. Mississippi Ting Shan was extremely anxious when she saw Sima Yue enter. Didn't she send someone to guard the street? She was afraid that Sima Yue would appear. She did not expect that she would really come back. "You're Murongshi? I didn't expect you to be such a beauty." The short fatty looked at Sima Yue and almost drooled. That undisguised gaze made people feel very uncomfortable. The pile of fat on his face squeezed together, making him look extremely ugly. "My Tingshan is right. If you're ugly, don't come out and scare people. It won't be good if you scare the passers-by and make the baby cry." Sima Yue waved her hand in disgust as if she was disgusted by the person standing in front of her. "Murongshi, you still dare to appear? I thought you had already escaped." A woman dressed as a woman stepped forward and pointed at Sima Yue. "Today I will take your life and avenge my 2 daughters. This old granny, who are you? Why are you acting like a lunatic, biting people whenever you come out? Who are your daughters? Do I know them?" Sima Yue touched her hair and did not even bother to look at her. "Murongshi, stop pretending. My 2 daughters were killed by you." The woman said hatefully. "You said that your daughters were killed by me. Do you have evidence? You actually brought people to my Duke Manor to cause trouble. I'm going to settle this account with you." Sima Yue looked over coldly, making the unprepared woman jump in fright. "You dare to say that Lian Er and Shuang Er's deaths have nothing to do with you? You mean Dong Qi Lian and Dong Qi Shuang? Their deaths have nothing to do with me." Sima Yue spread out her hands innocently. "We have already received the news. You were at the side when Lian Er and Shuang Er died. You have always been at odds with Shuang Er and even killed my Dong family's guards in Iridescent Cloud's pavilion. Who are you lying to?" the woman accused. Sima Yue guessed that this news should have been spread by the person who left the footprints. However, she did not know what relationship he had with the Dong family for him to come and tell them this news. Dong Qi Lian and Dong Qi Shuang were killed by the Underworldine wolves. If you want revenge, go find the Underworldine wolves. Coming to my Duke Manor to cause trouble? Are you taking advantage of my father's absence? She snorted coldly. Weren't those Underworldine wolves ordered by you? If it wasn't for you, why would they attack Lian Er and Shuang? The woman shouted. "Tsk, old granny, don't think that just because you are old, you can be disrespectful and accuse others. Dong Qi Lian and Dong Qi Shuang were chased by the Underworldine wolves because they stole their cubs. When they were being chased, not only did they not return the cubs to the Underworldine wolves, but they also killed them. If the Underworldine wolves didn't kill them, who would they kill?" Sima Yue sneered. "Only you were there at that time. You can say whatever you want. However, I won't believe a single word you say. Now you will be buried with my daughters." After that, she directly condensed her spiritual power and attacked Sima Yue. The guards around Sima Yue all moved. A few of them went to fight against Dong Qi Shuang's mother, while the others surrounded Sima Yue. Seeing that the other party moved, the Dong family's guards also moved. The Dong family and the Duke Manor's guards fought against each other. Gradually, the guards around Sima Yue were lured away. "Go to hell." The woman's vicious eyes locked onto Sima Yue. She took out a long sword and stabbed towards her. "Stop." As soon as Yuan Yen came, he saw such a scene. While shouting, he condensed his spiritual power to knock off the woman's sword. But he was too far away from them and the other party was too close. Seeing that the long sword was about to pierce Sima Yue's body. "Space lock." Emoji's cold voice sounded in his ears. It seemed to be angry. Clang! Yuan Yan's spiritual power knocked off the long sword. Sima Yue wanted to move, but found that she was surrounded by space. She didn't expect Emoji to be so skilled in using space lock. It seemed that his attainments in array formation were quite high. Unfortunately, she didn't have the strength to break free from his blockade. Fortunately, he soon lifted the blockade and she regained her freedom. Before the others had time to say anything, they suddenly felt a gust of wind whistling past. A black shadow flashed and then, Dong Qi Shuang's mother, who wanted to attack again, flew out. Everyone was stunned by this move, and both sides of the battle stopped. Xiao He flicked his tail and looked at the Dong family members who were surrounding Sima Yue just now. With a few slaps of his tail, those people were all sent flying. "Humph, how dare you hit my courting death." Chapter 1814. 1 second to remember. Love divided by you? Read book web. Updated quickly, no pop-up window, free to read. Except for Mo Ji and Yuan Yen, no one else knew who this black tail that suddenly appeared was. He Yen waved his tail and stared at those people. Whoever dared to approach, he would also slap them away. Black dragon? The short fat man and the Dong family were stunned when they saw He Yen. They could actually see the legendary black dragon. This is not a dream. Humph, you lowly people dare to touch my contractor, how dare you? He Yen shouted coldly, scaring those people so much that they didn't dare to make a sound. Humph, it's just a black dragon, what's so great about it? In front of the dynasty's army, it's just a beast. The short fat man was angry. Sima Yue was also frightened by the black dragon, and said while raising his orchid fingers, just an underworld beast? He Yen stared at the short fat man, and his 10-feet-long body rose from the ground, staring at him condescendingly. A dragon's roar shook everyone's eardrums, and the wind blew the short fat man and the Dong family back dozens of meters. He roared, and with a swing of his tail, he smashed a Dong family member into a meat patty. Roar? The mount under the short fat man was a little afraid when it saw He Yen at first, but in the face of He Yen's attack, it actually began to resist. She didn't know what race the beast was. Although its legs were trembling, it could actually resist He Yen's attack. My mount is a black Pishio, it doesn't lose to you, the short fat man said proudly. Sima Yue narrowed her eyes slightly. This person actually had a black Pishio, indicating that his status in the dynasty was not low. However, even so, he couldn't bully the people of the Duke Mansion. Murongshi, you'd better come with us obediently. In this way we cannot implicate the people of the Duke Mansion in the matter of you instigating the underworldine wolf to kill the Dong sisters. The short fat man looked at Sima Yue lecherously. Seeing her hot body, his little brother couldn't control himself. With your little Pishio? Sima Yue looked contemptuously at the beast that was as ugly as its owner. Although you have a black dragon, my Pishio is a mature beast. Although your black dragon is higher in grade, after all, it is still a baby that hasn't grown up. Ha! The short fat man laughed, feeling arrogant. By the way, if you touch me, the dynasty's army will destroy your Duke Mansion tomorrow. So you'd better be obedient and don't resist. Sima Yue turned her head and glanced at Emoji without a trace. Seeing him nodding at her, she turned back and smiled at the short fatty. The short fat man's saliva, which he had been holding back for a long time, finally flowed out. Disgusting. Ting Shan frowned in disgust and stepped forward to stand in front of Sima Yue, blocking his wretched gaze. You. Don't worry, I'll bring you along. I will take good care of you, the short fat man said with a smile. Fat man, put away your disgusting eyes, or I will dig them out for you. Ting Shui also rushed to the front and said, another beautiful girl. Murongshi, not only are you good looking, but the maids around you are also so beautiful. It's really a bargain for men. The short fat man looked at the three beautiful people and felt that his eyes couldn't take it anymore. Sima Yue pulled the two irritable people behind her and said, why are you so calculative with a person who is about to die? Miss. Ting Shan and Ting Shui looked at Sima Yue touched. She was using her body to protect them. This kind of miss was much better than before. Sima Yue saw the look in their eyes and the corners of her mouth twitched. She was too embarrassed to say that she was doing this in order to attack the short fat man. Sir Envoy, you said that you would hand Sima Yue over to us. Dong Qilian's mother heard him say this and cried out. If the short fat man wanted to protect Sima Yue's life, then could she still kill her? Are you questioning my decision? The short fat man looked at Dong Qilian's mother and his voice became cold. It was obvious that he was angry. He was only patient with beauties. As for others, he was not in such a good mood. Sir Envoy, how could that be? We will listen to you. Dong Qilian's father pulled his wife and smiled at the short fat man. This envoy has never liked people questioning my words. This time I will let it go for concubine Dong's face. Don't do it again. Do you understand? The short fat man reprimanded. Yes, we understand. Dong Qilian's father pulled her mother to the back. Her mother was still a little unwilling, but she was appeased by her father's words. With Sir Envoy's temper, if you bring Murongshi over, her fate will not be better than being killed directly. That's right. I heard that this Sir Envoy has a heavy taste. The women he fancied were tortured miserably. If Murongshi is caught, it is still unknown what will happen to her. Thinking of this, her mood became better. Sir Envoy, this Murongshi is also the daughter of the Duke. If you want to take her away, the Duke will not agree. If he comes back and knows about this, I am afraid that he will make a fuss in the Duke's mansion. Yuan Yen was a little afraid of this short fat man, but he still spoke out. Young Master Yuan, it's better for you not to intervene in this matter. The short fat man looked at Yuan Yen and threatened, "Otherwise, if the Yuan family loses a young master, wouldn't it benefit others for nothing? The Yuan family would not offend a Sir Envoy for him, Yuan Yen." "What is this Sir Envoy?" Sima Yue asked. "Miss, the Sir Envoy is a person around Wang Ye and can exercise some of Wang Ye's rights. His status is higher than that of the Duke." Ting Shan dispelled her doubts. Sima Yue showed a shocked expression on her face and asked, "Such a person can also be the Sir Envoy? Isn't this position particularly easy to be in? Why don't we give it a try and see if we can get the position of Sir Envoy?" "Generally, only Wang Ye's relatives can be the Sir Envoy," Ting Shan said. "In fact, the power of this position is not particularly great, but the reason why the Sir Envoy can have such a high status is because of their relationship with Wang Ye. No wonder a person like him can have a mythological beast like Pai Xiu as a mount." Sima Yue nodded and said, "However, daring to have ideas about me, this is still intolerable. That ugly appearance really makes me unable to bear it for a minute." I'm going to slap him into meat paste," He Yin said. "Don't worry." Sima Yue stopped him. "Let's deal with that guy who is as ugly as its owner first. The existence of Pai Xiu will cause trouble for Xiaohei. Although Xiaohei may not necessarily lose if they really fight, it is wise to take a shortcut." She squatted down, touched Xiaohei's head and asked, "Xiaohei, can you deal with it?" Chapter 1815. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book web, updated quickly, no pop-up window, free to read. Everyone looked at her, thinking that she was scared silly by the short fatty. "A dog, you asked if it could deal with the mythological beast Pai Xiu?" Either there was something wrong with their ears or there was something wrong with her brain. Sima Yue ignored the various eyes and continued to stroke Little Black. "Woof woof woof." Little Black barked at her twice and then before everyone could react, a black shadow flashed by, followed by the sharp cry of the Pai Xiu and the scream of the short fatty being thrown to the ground. Roar! The Pai Xiu ran around in the crowd, trampling several Dong family guards to death, and even Dong Qilian's mother was almost trampled to death. Blood sprayed from its neck and sprinkled all over the street. "Lord Envoy." Dong Qilian's father was stunned when he saw the short fatty fall to the ground. He hurriedly ran over to help him up and pulled him to the side of the street, avoiding the huge body of the Pai Xiu. If the short fatty was not pulled away, he would have been trampled into meat paste. Roar, roar, the blood in its body was rapidly draining and its vitality was also rapidly draining. It forgot that it could speak and just roared like a beast. Boom! When its vitality was exhausted, it fell heavily on the street. The earth trembled. Bow, The short fatty saw his mount fall lifelessly and screamed heartbreakingly. Sima Yue felt goosebumps rise when she heard this name. Does this person have to be so disgusting? Not to mention that he kept raising his orchid fingers, he also gave such an ugly beast such a name. "I'm going to kill you." The short fatty was heartbroken. He broke away from the people around him and flew towards Sima Yue. Be careful." In a hurry, Yuan Yen forgot his identity, forgot the interests of his family, and stood in front of Sima Yue, ready to block this blow for her. Pa! The long black tail swayed in front of everyone, and they saw the short fatty being slapped to the ground, smashing a pit. Pa! Black lava swung its tail again and smashed the short fatty into a meat patty. "Humph, I said I'll turn you into a meat patty, so I'll turn you into a meat patty. You want to steal my See if I can't kill you." As it spoke, it didn't stop slapping its tail. The short fatty was beaten to death by it. "Lord Envoy. Murong-shi, you actually killed Lord Envoy." Dong Qilian's father took a long time to regain his senses as he pointed at Sima Yue and shouted. Yuan Yen was also frightened. Looking at the corpse of the short fat man on the ground, he couldn't recover for a long time. Not only him, but the guards of the Dong family and the commandery prince's mansion were also confused. Only Emoji looked at the corpse without feeling anything. Wasn't it just the death of an envoy? What was the big deal? It was said that Dija went to see Wang Ye before leaving the Great Yu dynasty. They must have had a secret conversation. An envoy was not worth a single hair of Sima Yue. Sima Yue saw them so frightened, she shrugged and said, "Isn't it just an envoy? How dare he have ideas about me? How can my beasts let him go? In this world, not everyone can afford to provoke him. Not everyone can afford to provoke him. Just wait for the revenge from the prince's mansion." The Dong family saw that things had exceeded their expectations, and today they didn't care about Sima Yue's life, and hurriedly fled back with the Dong family. When everyone had dispersed, the guards of the Commandery Prince's mansion regained their senses. They looked at Sima Yue with horror and admiration, but also some worry. "Miss, what about this person's body?" Sima Yue glanced at the pile of flesh and blood. If it wasn't for the human-shaped pit when it hit the ground at the beginning, she wouldn't have been able to tell that it was a person. She subconsciously wanted to burn the corpse with a flame, but found that she couldn't do it now. She withdrew her hand awkwardly and said to the captain of the guards, "Just burn it. By the way, clean up the blood on the street." "Yes, Mississippi." She turned around and saw the empty gate. "Also, change it to a sturdy gate. It's shameful that the gate of the Commandery Prince's mansion is always destroyed." Yes. Every time, the gate of the Commandery Prince's mansion was hurt the most. As the gatekeepers, they also felt very uncomfortable. "Also, send someone to inform father about this matter and let him be mentally prepared. If Wang Ye really blames us, it will be easy to deal with. You don't have to care about the rumors in the city, but send someone out to pay attention to the movements in the prince's mansion. By the way, investigate the background of this short fat man. If he can have a Pichio as a contract beast, his identity should not be bad. It should be easier to investigate." "Yes, Mississippi." The guards took the order and went down, and soon the Commandery Prince's mansion returned to its former order. Yuan Yin and Emoji watched her methodically instruct things. Where did it look like she had just experienced a major event? "You killed an envoy anyway, do you have to be so calm?" Yuan Yin sighed. Sima Yue glanced at him and said to the two, "I'll take it as a compliment. Thank you for today's matter. But as you can see, the Commandery Prince's mansion still has a lot of things to do, so I won't entertain you. I'll visit you later to thank you." "Actually, you don't have to send someone to investigate him. We all know about him," Yuan Yin said. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, "Then come in with me." Ting Shan and Ting Shui followed them in and served them tea and water while they were chatting. These two people were willing to step forward at this time, indicating that they were still good people. Emoji glanced at the tea they served and didn't bang. Sima Yue asked Ting Shui to put away the tea and personally made a pot of tea for the two of them. "It takes time to make tea. Let's talk about that short fat man." Yuan Yin was attracted by her action of making tea, and he didn't recover until she spoke. "Oh, that envoy, he is the princess's younger brother, Wang Ye's brother-in-law. It is said that the princess loves this little brother the most. If you kill him now, I'm afraid that the princess will not let you go." Yuan Yin looked at her with some worry. The princess has a strong personality, and Wang Ye sometimes has to give in. "Does the princess have a son?" "Yes, the eldest prince and the seventh prince were both born by her." "Then it seems a little tricky." She estimated the tricky level of this matter in her heart and found that it was not a little tricky but quite tricky. "If it's an ordinary person, I may be able to let the family come forward to mediate, but the relationship between the princess and the Yuan family is not very good. I'm afraid it will be difficult for me to persuade the family to come forward," Yuan Yin said. "It doesn't matter, I'm very grateful for your kindness." Sima Yue said, "I'm actually fine, but I'm afraid that I will implicate my father. Otherwise I will be alone. Where can't I go?" Emoji watched the two of them talking back and forth. He didn't expect him to be here at all. At this time, another guard came in from the outside, and his hurried steps showed that something important had happened. Chapter 1816. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book net. Update quickly, no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue looked at the guard who ran over and said, "What's the matter?" "Miss, someone sent this." The guard took out a box and handed it to Sima Yue. "For me?" Sima Yue took the box and remembered that the unknown box she received last time was the spirit-gathering stone given by Emoji, so she glanced at him subconsciously. "Yes, he said that he wants Miss to open this personally." The guard said, "He said that you will know what is inside when you open it." Sima Yue's doubts increased sharply. Did she know such a person? The box in her hand seemed to have become a little hot. Emoji saw her doubts and said, "Open it and you will know what it is." Sima Yue nodded, took a deep breath and then opened the box. The box looked very ordinary from the outside, the size of a palm, but after opening it, she felt that there was another universe inside. Pocket Universe Box. Emoji saw the origin of this box at a glance and then frowned. "What's inside?" Yuan Yin asked. Sima Yue glanced at the box, shook her head and turned the box to the opposite side. "Empty?" Yuan Yin looked at Emoji, who also had a puzzled look. "Why would someone send you an empty box?" Emoji took the box and looked at it carefully. He did not find anything in it and returned it to Sima Yue. When Sima Yue took the box, she suddenly saw the flower on the lid of the box, and her whole person was stunned. This pattern. Yuan Yin and Emoji saw her like this and looked at the pattern on the lid of the box again. What's wrong with this pattern? Have you seen it before? Sima Yue touched the pattern on the box, which was a coquettish flower. Unlike the devil's snare flower that Emoji liked, this flower gave people a more charming feeling. Looking at the flower, a picture appeared in my mind as if I was standing in a sea of flowers like this. It seems that I have seen this flower before. She said, but I'm sure I haven't seen this flower before. Do you know what flower this is? Are you sure the picture you think of is in this flower bush? Emoji asked. I'm sure. Sima Yue said, do you know what this is? This is the legendary hell flower. Emoji said, that's why I said it's a flower pattern, but I've never seen a real flower. Hell flower? Isn't it a devil's snare flower? Devil's snare flower is a flower. As for this flower, it was said that it could only be found in the depths of hell. But this is just a legend, no one has really seen it. Emoji said. In that case, how did she meet him? Yuan Yin asked. Sima Yu didn't understand either. She rubbed her forehead and said, before I woke up, I felt like I was in a daze for a period of time. I didn't know where I was or what I was doing. Let me show you. Emoji looked at Sima Yue. Sima Yue hesitated for a while and stretched out her left hand. Emoji grabbed her hand and let his spiritual awareness slowly penetrate her body and into her spiritual awareness. After a while, he withdrew and said, it's not that you're confused, but that you have a memory that's been sealed. Sealed? Sima Yue looked at Emoji in surprise. Are you sure? Yes. Emoji nodded, but the seal is not strong, so you can occasionally remember some fragments. This may be related to the hell flower. Could it be that I've seen that flower and then someone sealed that memory? Sima Yue said, if that's the case, why did he give me this box to remind me of something? I guess only you know. Sima Yue sighed, if I knew would I still ask? What does it mean to send this over at this time? I remember seeing something about the hell flower before. Yuan Yin said, I remember that I seemed to have it with me. With that, he took out a pile of books, at least hundreds of them. I remember which book it is in here, we can look for it. Yuan Yin looked at the two. Look for it in so many books? Sima Yue's mouth twitched. You can think about it carefully, what book did you see it in? Emoji looked at the pile of books, took one out of the middle, and threw it in front of Yuan Yin. It seems to be this one. Yuan Yin opened the book, found the page and handed it to Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at the front first and found that this was a book recording this legend. The page that Yuan Yin gave her had very few words, and it was accompanied by a hell flower. Legend has it that this kind of flower blooms in the depths of hell, and it is the representative of the underworld god. No one has ever seen a real flower, but it really exists. The underworld god is not a legend, he really exists. There is no detailed description at all in such a short book. Sima Yue returned the book to Yuan Yin after reading it. If it's according to the book, then didn't I see the underworld god? By the way, is there such an existence as the underworld god in the ghost realm? The underworld god statement is too exaggerated, but I think there is a person or race behind this that we don't know. Emoji said. Don't you Emo clan know? Yuan Yin asked. Emoji shook his head, he had only seen it in this book. Could it be the one in Jiuyu Mountain? Sima Yue asked. Jiuyu God clan? No, it's not them. Their appearances are accompanied by Black Lotus, not Hellflower. Emoji said, if I really want to say it, the Black Lotus represents the heaven of the ghost realm, and the Hellflower represents hell. Isn't it a legend? The Jiuyu clan exists, does it mean that this Hellflower also really exists? Sima Yue asked. I might have thought it was a legend before, but now. Emoji raised his eyebrows and his eyes fell on the Pocket Universe box. The meaning was self-evident. The Jiuyu clan is also a legend, how can you be sure that he exists? Yuan Yin asked. How can you be sure? Of course, it's because she is one of them. The Jiuyu clan does exist, but they have appeared less in recent years, so they are known less. Emoji said. Alas, at this time, it really feels weird to send me such an inexplicable box. Sima Yue looked at the box over and over for a while, but she couldn't find anything, so she closed the box and put it on the table. Emoji saw that she was puzzled and pouted. Why don't you think about it again? Since the other party said that you will understand when you see the box, maybe there is really some deep meaning. Chapter 1817. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book web, update quickly, no pop-up window, read for free. Sima Yue picked up the Pocket Universe box and looked at it for a while, but she still didn't see anything and finally had to give up. Thinking about it, there is only the picture of me standing in the hellflower bush. Forget it, I will know when it's time to know. She really couldn't think of anything else, so she was too lazy to think about it and put the box away. You are really open-minded, Yuan Yin said when he saw her stop like this. The other party just sent this thing, indicating that there is no malice for the time being. Just like someone back then. Sima Yue said. Someone? Yuan Yin looked at her doubtfully. A friend of mine also sent a box over at the beginning, which scared my uncle Butler. Sima Yue said. Maybe this is the same. Emoji smiled and the two looked at each other. Only each other understood the look in their eyes. Yuan Yin looked at the interaction between the two, his eyes flashed slightly, he lowered his head to drink tea thinking of the previous matter, he looked up at Emoji and said, By the way Emoji, can you handle the matter of the envoy? With the deterrent power of the Mo clan, how can the princess give you face? If you take action they should not dare to resist. Yuan Yin said. You finally remembered me. Emoji chuckled, I saw that you were so brave just now, I thought you had thought about everything. It's not like you don't know my situation. Yuan Yin sighed. He tightened his grip on the teacup, and this time when he goes back, he must take the position of the young master of the family. Definitely. Since you said so, I can only say that there will be no problem for the time being. However, I can't guarantee the situation later. Emoji said. I see. Sima Yue understood what he meant. He said that he would suppress this matter for the time being, but he would not completely solve this matter for her. If he meets the people of the Wangfu in the future or goes to the Wangfu, he will not guarantee what will happen. Moreover, doing this is also for her own good. Leaving an unsolved enemy can give her more motivation to move forward. Her strength is still low now, and when her strength grows she can naturally solve these problems by herself. Then let's set off tomorrow. Yuan Yin said, the earlier we go the earlier we can solve this matter. Otherwise once they get the news they might send someone over. Is 10 years enough? Sima Yue did not react at first, but she soon understood that he was giving her 10 years to grow up. Enough. She didn't think it was necessary, but she didn't want to be too sure. Then we'll see you then. Emoji said, I believe it shouldn't take long. You want to stay in the prince's mansion? No, but when you go to the palace I should be there. All right. See you then. Sima Yue guessed that they would be paying attention to her situation. When she went to the prince's mansion he would know the news. Emoji and Yuan Yin didn't have much nostalgia when they left. Yuan Yin's matter here had been solved. He needed to go back and report and take Emoji to deal with the affairs of the Wangfu. So after the two went back they packed up and left with their people. Sima Yue sent them away. The efficiency of the guards of the Junwang mansion was still very high, and the door that was blown away was hit again. She just didn't know how long this door could last. She returned to her courtyard and Ting Shan and Ting Shui immediately greeted her. The two knelt in front of her with a bang and kowtowed heavily. Miss? Sima Yue was startled by the two of them. She looked at them and asked, Are you too stimulated by today's incident? Are you scared silly? Miss. Ting Shan and Ting Shui's lives were saved by Mississippi. In the future, if Miss wants us to climb a mountain of swords or go into a sea of fire, we will definitely not frown. Ting Shui said with a smile. You don't have to be so exaggerated, right? How can I save you? Sima Yue went up to help the two of them. Okay, get up quickly, otherwise others will think that I did something to you too. Ting Shan and Ting Shui got up with her strength. Today's incident, if it weren't for Miss, we would have been taken away by that short fat man. If that's the case we will definitely not obey. Didn't you save our lives? Well, it's not bad if you think so. In that case guard the door well today. Sima Yue laughed. Remember that when I'm in seclusion no one can come in, do you understand? We know. What if Master comes back? Since it's father, it's another matter. Alas, I think father will probably rush back when he hears the news. I don't know if the matter at the mineral vein has been solved. Sima Yue sighed, feeling that she seemed to have caused a lot of trouble for Murong Hui. Father comes back, tell me. If someone is looking for trouble, tell me. In addition, send someone to pay attention to the Dong family situation. Yes, Mississippi. Sima Yue entered her room but did not start training. Instead, she took out the pocket universe box and looked at it. But no matter how she looked and thought, there was only that picture in her mind. Yu, did I get into trouble? Hei Yin raised its head from her hand and looked at her with self-reproach. It was not as domineering as before. It's okay. Sima Yue poked its head with her index finger. You are very domineering when you protect me. I like it. Really? Hei Yin was happy, its little tail wagging. Really? Go play with Little Black, I'm going to cultivate. Sima Yue looked at Little Black who was playing alone in the corner and said, okay. Hei Yin went down from her body and wrapped around Little Black. The two of them almost merged into one. Little Black only called twice symbolically for Hei Yan's arrival and then went to play with its toys. Sima Yue smiled and went to the bed to prepare to cultivate. However, after she entered a meditative state, she did not cultivate like before. A sea of red flowers appeared in her mind. You can actually come here. A voice sounded behind her. She turned around and saw a faint figure. Who are you? Sima Yue asked. The figure approached her and sniffed her body, saying, Chaos Chi. You have been to the Chaos World before. No wonder you can come here. Chaos World? Sima Yue remembered that when she was in school she went to a place and was brought out by Emosha. She never went to that place again and did not come in contact with it. She did not expect that after so long, it would still affect her. Looking at the figure in front of her, she asked again, Who are you? Where is this place? The figure walked around her and said faintly, Welcome to the underworld. I am the king of the underworld, Hades. Chapter 1818. In 1 second she remembered, Love divided by you? Read book, web quick update, no pop-up window, free to read. Welcome to the underworld, I am the king of the underworld, Hades. The scene paused here and then she woke up. Doubt flashed through her clear eyes. The underworld, the king of the underworld, does it really exist? Why do I have memories of this? Wasn't the first place I appeared in after arriving at the ghost realm the cliff? If all of this was true, then it meant that before she left that place her memories were sealed by the other party. Since he had already done so, why did he use things to stimulate her memories? How about we make a bet? A voice sounded in her mind. The voice was very soft, as if it came from the distant past. And it was fleeting, she didn't catch anything. How could this be? She murmured, the doubts in her heart did not diminish. Miss, not good. Ting Shui shouted as she ran in from outside the courtyard. Sima Yue rubbed her eyebrows, got out of bed and walked out. What's wrong? What happened? Why are you panicking? Ting Shui patted her chest and said with a frightened face, the Dong family has been destroyed. What? Ting Shan shouted from the side, how could the Dong family be destroyed? Sima Yue was also very surprised. This matter had only happened for half a day, the Duke's manor didn't send anyone to deal with the Dong family, how could it be destroyed? Do you know who did it? She asked. I don't know. After today's matter, many people were looking at the Dong family, but no one saw the person who did it. Ting Shui was shocked when she heard the news. No one saw the person who did it? How is that possible? Ting Shan didn't believe it, with such a big movement, how could they not see the murderer? It's true. Everyone is saying that they only saw a black shadow surrounding someone, and after the black shadow dispersed, only a pool of blood was left. Ting Shui widened her eyes as if she had seen it with her own eyes. When Sima Yue heard this, she subconsciously glanced at Little Black. Why was this so similar to the scene when she first saw it? However, this fellow had been here with him all this time, so it shouldn't be the one who did it. Besides, this guy was still sealed, so it couldn't use its spiritual power at all. The last 2 times it killed people, it relied on its speed and teeth, so it shouldn't be him. Are there any other characteristics? Ting Shan asked. Oh, I heard from the people present that the black fog gave people a very frightening feeling, as if it was different from the aura of ordinary people. Ting Shui said. To be able to turn into black mist, he's definitely not from Ghost's realm. Could it be someone from the Soul Society? Ting Shan asked curiously. That's also possible. But wasn't it too much of a coincidence to destroy the Dong family at this time? It felt like he was taking revenge for what happened today. Everyone outside is saying that it was us who sent them out. Won't that bring us trouble? This was what they said at the beginning. Later, some people said that people with this kind of strength shouldn't be in the Duke's mansion. They guessed that someone else might be helping Mississippi. After all, Miss used to be a waste, but now she has the black dragon and the mutated dog. Maybe she had a fortuitous encounter. So everyone is very afraid of Miss now. Ting Shui repeated the words of those people, and looked at Sima Yue with admiration. Young miss, is what they said true? Ah? Did you have a fortuitous encounter? Sima Yue pushed her head away and said, What fortuitous encounter? I made a contract with Hei Yen when I was in Moon Creek Valley. Ting Shan pulled Ting Shui and asked her to stop talking nonsense. At the same time she asked, Miss, how should we deal with the Dong family? What needs to be dealt with? We didn't do this, so don't worry about him. Sima Yue said, But you still have to pay more attention to the situation in the city. If there are any changes, report it. Yes. Go. Sima Yue waved her hand, and the two of them bowed and left. She stood alone in the courtyard looking at the gray sky and muttered, Did you do it? Hades. The only answer she got was the sound of the wind. At the same time, somewhere outside the city, a cloud of black fog slowly condensed and formed into the appearance of a man. The man waved his hand and the space was torn apart by him, but he didn't go in. King, the Dong family has been dealt with. The things have also been sent to her. The man said. Does she remember? A clear voice came from that space. She should have remembered some things. But she still hasn't broken the seal and hasn't remembered everything. The man replied. Juan, who do you think will win this bet? King, you made a bet with Yue. If she can break the seal and remember us in 10 years, you won't interfere with her life and won't let her stay in the underworld. I think she will remember. Juan said. You think this king will lose? I just know that her desire to stay in the ghost realm is very strong. Even if she temporarily forgets us, she still wants to win subconsciously. Otherwise, she wouldn't have remembered something just by seeing the pocket cosmos box. Juan said his thoughts, and King, you don't plan to win against her, do you? You little brat, who told you to guess my thoughts? Hades was not angry and then sighed, No one has been to the ghost realm for a long time, and it's not easy to find someone who suits my taste. Juan lowered his head. He could understand Hades' feelings and he could also see that he liked Sima Yue very much. It was not the love between men and women, but the kind of love that has existed in the darkness for a long time and has encountered a glimmer of light. Because he had been in the darkness for too long, he was willing to spend effort to keep this warmth. King, the man she mentioned has also come to the ghost realm. Juan said, Should we pay attention to the situation over there? Her man? Hades' voice was very soft, and there was no anger in it. After a moment of silence, he told the people, Since he is her man, he must have some ability. You go and test him, but don't kill him. Yes, King. Another voice came from inside. The ghost realm wants him to live and no one else can take his life. Do you remember? Juan said to the people inside. Yes, Lord Underworld Envoy. The people inside took the order and left. Juan, you are too good to him. Hades was unhappy. Juan smiled, King, I'm just saying what you didn't say. If something happens to him, she will be sad. Humph, I spared his life because he was willing to give up his body and come to the ghost realm for her. Hades snorted coldly, Otherwise, then do you want to tell her this news? Juan asked with a smile. Don't tell her before the two of them meet. Not only don't tell her but also set up some obstacles for them. I'll leave this matter to you. Hades was like a child, I want to see if they are, as she said, destined. Chapter 1819. Remember in 1 second, love divided by you? Read book web, updated quickly, no pop-up window, free to read. Sima Yue didn't know about the things outside the city, but she guessed that the Dong family's affairs should have something to do with the underworld. However, this was not a bad thing. At least for the time being, no one dared to trouble her again. Murong Hui didn't have to worry about this matter for the time being. He could devote himself to the mineral veins and the city competition. And she could also cultivate quietly and strive to make herself strong enough as soon as possible. 2 days later, Murong Hui returned and went directly to Sima Yue's courtyard. Ting Shan hurriedly called Sima Yue out. Sima Yue came out and saw his haggard figure. She said, Father, you're back. How's the mineral veins? Things over there have been settled. A class equals __f email _ref equals /seeding/l/ email protection datic female equals 74A9FB34BFC1, email protected. I've heard about the Dong family. You don't have to worry about it. I'll deal with the rest. He was not talking about the Dong family itself, but some forces and things involved. Father, the Dong family's affairs are almost settled. You don't have to worry. Have a good rest first. Sima Yue said. It's settled? Yes. The efficiency of the guards in the residence is very high. In addition to the extermination of the Dong clan, the other clans are a little afraid of us, so the matter was resolved quickly. Sima Yu said, if you don't believe me you can call Guard Zhang over and ask him. Is it really okay? Murong Hui didn't believe it. He wasn't sure that he could handle such a big matter in such a short time, but she had already dealt with it. It's really okay. Look at how tired you are. How can I let you worry about it? Sima Yue held his hand and led him out of the courtyard. She called the guard commander to the main hall and asked him to explain the current situation. Zhang Ming was now convinced by Sima Yue. When the incident first happened, they protected her from Murong Hui. Later, she gave orders one by one, and soon took over the power of the Dong family. At the same time, she also moved the public opinion in the city. Now, the people in the city were very obedient to the royal prince's manner. He told her everything that had happened in the past few days. His words were filled with admiration for Sima Yue. Seeing that there was really nothing wrong, Murong Hui waved his hand to let Zhang Ming go down, and looked at Sima Yue with complicated eyes. If the princess knew that she had such a capable daughter, she would definitely be very happy, he praised. I think so too, Sima Yue said with a smile. However, we still haven't found the force that destroyed the Dong family. We still have to continue investigating this force that suddenly appeared. A class equals __sef email _ref equals /cdncgi/l email protection data female equals CF12408F047 email protected. However, according to what you said, the other party is just a cloud of black fog. No one has seen it again after the Dong family was destroyed. I'm afraid it won't be easy to investigate. Father, don't worry about this matter for the time being. Sima Yue stopped him. Do you know who did it? Murong Hui asked. Although I'm not sure, I probably guessed it. Sima Yue said, the other party may not want us to investigate him. As long as there is no threat to us, don't pursue the matter anymore. Murong Hui saw her hesitant look. Is the other party difficult to deal with? It's hard to say. I'm not completely sure. Since the other party deliberately concealed it, it means that they don't want us to know. Why should we get to the bottom of it? Maybe it will cause some trouble at that time. What you said is true. In that case, I won't care about this for the time being. Murong Hui agreed to her request. Thank you, Father. Sima Yue knew that he still had doubts in his heart. An unknown force appeared in his place. Whether it was public or private, he should have a clear grasp of it. But because of her, he chose to give up. It's good that you're fine. A class equals __sef email _ref equals /cdncgi/l email protection data female equals 64B9EB24AFD1 email protected. However, although I won't investigate this matter, I must pay attention to it. Well, I understand. Sima Yue nodded. After the Shao family in this matter, I think we can be quiet for a while. In the next few days, I want to cultivate in seclusion and improve my strength as soon as possible. Good. It's good that you think so. There's nothing for you to worry about now. You just need to cultivate well. Murong Hui agreed with her approach. After all, her identity was special. Although she had the identity of once she was discovered, the consequences could still be serious. If she cultivated in seclusion, then she would have less time to appear outside, and it would naturally be safer. Sima Yue then asked about the mineral veins. After the two chatted for a while, she went back. Before leaving, she repeatedly told him to have a good rest. After she left, A class equals __sef email _ref equals /cdncgi/l email protection data female equals 568BD91690F5 email protected, leaned back in his chair tiredly. Because he hadn't rested for a long time, he already had heavy dark circles under his eyes. Murong Lin came in from the outside and gave Mu the situation he had inquired about in the city. A class equals __cf email _ref equals /cdncgi/l email protection data female equals EF3260AF245 email protected. It was almost the same as what Zhang Ming said. Master, I didn't expect that she could deal with this matter so simply and neatly, maintaining the prestige of the Duke Manor in front of everyone, and at the same time dealing with the following matters very well. If I didn't know that she was less than 100 years old, I would have thought that this was done by someone who had lived for hundreds or even thousands of years. Murong Lin praised. The princess has given birth to a good daughter. Murong Hui sighed. However, the more she knows, the more experience she has in the human world. She should have suffered a lot in the past. It's hard for this child. That's right. Murong Lin also sighed. Master, do you still want to investigate the Dong family's affairs? Not for the time being. Murong Hui explained the meaning of Sima Yue. I think she may know who the other party is, but she doesn't want us to get involved, so she won't let us continue to investigate. But I heard that the person who destroyed the Dong family is very mysterious. If we don't find out who it is, will it hurt Miss? I think it's precisely because the other party is too mysterious, so she doesn't want us to investigate. Murong Hui still had some understanding of Sima Yue. After the other party bullied her in the Dong family, they went to destroy the Dong family. I think the other party is protecting her. It can even be said that no one is allowed to let her be wronged. No. Is it them? Murong Lin felt that this was a bit unrealistic. General D and Lord Mo you have both left, and Miss asked them not to follow her. It shouldn't be. Murong Hui had a headache thinking of this. Isn't it said that the other party is just a cloud of black fog? So I guess it may not be the people of Ghost Realm. This matter will be done according to what she said, but let people pay attention to the surrounding situation, and inform me immediately if there is any change. Yes, Master. Murong Lin responded and retreated. Sima Yue returned to her yard and felt that the atmosphere around her was a bit wrong. When she returned to the house, she saw Xiao Hei standing in the middle of the room, staring at the air somewhere with full attention. Chapter 1820. Sima Yue looked around. There was no one around and she could not sense anyone in the space. Little Black, is anyone here? She walked over and patted its head. Little Black relaxed the moment she touched it. It barked at her twice and its aura was different from before. Do you sense someone? Sima Yue squatted down and rubbed the fur on its neck. Maybe there was a guest just now, but it's gone now. Go and play. Little Black barked at her and ran out by itself. She looked at the place where Little Black was staring at and narrowed her eyes slightly. Then she did nothing and closed the door. She set up a barrier and went to cultivate. Huan was invisible in the space. When he saw her enter the cultivation state, he condensed a chair and sat down. He crossed his legs and murmured, "You're still so sharp. But where did this little black dog come from? It clearly doesn't have any spiritual energy, but I can feel a majestic power from it. This power should be sealed, right?" After saying that, he paused. He wanted to reach out and poke the barrier protecting her, but he stopped when he was about to touch it. "If I poke you, you'll find me. Sai Yu, when will you remember us? I'm looking forward to your bet with the king." In the next few months, she had been cultivating in seclusion in the house. Except for occasionally going out to meet Murong Hui, she spent the rest of her time in her own yard. Most of the time she practiced the soul refining art. The rest of the time she read books to expand her knowledge of the ghost realm. Otherwise, she would practice alchemy and refining tools to prevent herself from being out of practice. During this period of time, the only reason she went out was to find a place to undergo the lightning tribulation. At this time, the people of Vast City were used to the lightning tribulations. Although there were still people who went to watch every time, they didn't see anyone going through the tribulation. Over time, various versions of the legend began to circulate. However, none of them involved Sima Yue. This kind of life continued until the second year of the city competition, when she finally appeared in front of everyone. However, that was only during the city competition. Once the competition was over, she would go into seclusion again, all the way until just before the region competition. In the past year or so, her strength had improved by leaps and bounds, and the strength of Vast Region had also greatly increased because of the discovery of the mineral vein. However, compared to the other prefectures, it was still lacking. The affairs of the Dong family and the Xiao family were still the topic of people's after-dinner conversations. The reputation of Murong Hui and Sima Yue spread out of Vast Region and spread to King City. However, it was only the annihilation of two families, so it didn't cause too much of a stir. Only a few people who were paying attention would think about it from time to time. "You said that Murong Hui brought Murong Shi with him?" Her alluring fingers were holding a black rose. She used a pair of scissors to cut off the branches and then placed the flower into the vase. Her movements were so graceful and she looked so noble. The flower in her hand didn't seem to be the flower that made her beautiful, but she added color to it. However, her tone of voice was not as gentle as her actions, and it carried a faint killing intent. "Yes, Your Highness. They have already left." The man kneeling on the ground lowered his head, not daring to look at her. The Mo clan told me not to go to Liao City to find her trouble within 10 years. I didn't expect that in just 2 years she would walk into the trap. In that case, how can I let such a good opportunity go to waste? The princess slashed down as if she was not cutting a flower branch but an enemy. At the same time, in another part of Great U City, a handsome man walked into a small garden. As soon as he entered, he saw Xiao Ruabai sitting by the pond in a daze. "You are in a daze again." The man walked over and stood beside her, looking at the reflection of the two people in the water. "Seventh Prince, you are here. What's the matter?" Xiao Ruabai nodded faintly, greeting him. Since she was rescued to his house, he would come to her from time to time. At first, she ignored him and was indifferent to him. If he hadn't involved the Xiao family in the beginning, how would the Xiao family end up like this? However, Yuqi was not defeated by her attitude, but showed her all kinds of care. Later, after a long time, the two of them were able to say a few words. "The region competition is about to begin." Yuqi said, "The people of vast region have already set off for Great U City, and Murongxi is among them." Hearing the name Murongxi, Xiao Ruabai bit her lip, and the hand on her knee subconsciously clenched into a fist. She killed the envoy not long ago, and the princess still wants to find a chance to get rid of her. Why is she here at this time? Yuqi stared at her. "You still care about her?" The illusion array of Moon Creek Valley was personally arranged by her, and she even used poison in it. If there was no illusion array, the Xiao family would not have been destroyed so easily. "Don't you hate her?" "I hate her." Xiao Ruabai did not hide her hatred, but I also know that the illusion array she arranged was not aimed at the Xiao family, but to find out the person who killed Murong Hui. If Grandpa and the others hadn't done anything to Murong Hui, such a thing wouldn't have happened. Speaking of which, she looked up at Yuqi. "So, I hate you even more. If it weren't for you, the Xiao family would still be the Xiao family from before, and my family would still be alive." Yuqi did not deny her words, nor did he argue for himself because this was the truth. "You hate me, I can only bear it. But what do you think about Murongxi coming to Great U City?" He looked at her face, not letting go of a trace of her expression. "Will you go to her for revenge?" "I don't know." Xiao Ruabai lowered her eyes. "I am just an orphan with no support and no strength. What can I do to deal with her and Murong Hui?" "You still have me." Yuqi said, "As long as you ask, I can do anything for you. If I ask you to kill yourself, will you do it?" Xiao Ruabai stared at him, her tone very serious. "Do you want to?" Yuqi also said very seriously. Xiao Ruabai lowered her head. "What does it matter? Isn't the result the same? What other choice do I have?" She was just a lonely person now. What qualifications did she have to think about revenge? "Ruabai," I said, "as long as you nod, you will be my princess." Yuqi looked at her helplessly. "Don't you understand my intentions?" "I'm tired, I'm going back to rest." She didn't want to talk about these things anymore, so she got up and left him. Yuqi reached out to hold her hand, but it froze in the air. Looking at her determined back, he sighed deeply. "Don't worry, I will avenge you," he said loudly to her back. "I will." Xiao Ruabai paused but did not turn around. "Actually, you just want to find an excuse to deal with Murong Hui openly, because he doesn't want to be with you. Don't you think it's a bit despicable to use me as an excuse?" Chapter 1821. Sima Yue and Murong Hui, and the others sat on a group of flying beasts and hurried towards the U City. Murong Hui looked at Sima Yue and hesitated several times. Sima Yue was unable to focus on her book. She raised her head and asked, "Father, what do you want to say? Are you really going to U City?" Murong Hui asked. Sima Yue put down her book. "We've already discussed this before we set off. But the closer we get to Great U City, the more uneasy I feel." Murong Hui said worriedly, "I think you should go back to Vast City. Wang Fei sent someone to send a message before. Although she has an agreement with the Mo clan that she can't do anything to you in Liao City, if you leave Liao City, it will not be within the scope of the agreement. You know Wang Fei's background. Even Wang Ye may not be able to control her." "I know. Father, you're worried that the princess consort will take revenge on me. But at the same time, I'm also worried about you." Sima Yue said, "If you don't go, you will become the target of the princess' revenge." "Father, I don't want anything to happen to you." Murong Hui was a little moved. Before leaving, they also had a conversation, but Sima Yue didn't say that. Instead, she told him that she had the ability to protect herself. "Father, I know that vast region is the place where you and foster mother met and fell in love with each other. That's why you don't want to leave and want to guard your place. But you also want to develop Vast Region. Vast Region has a lot less resources than other regions. If we want to improve ourselves, the region competition is a very important opportunity, so we can't miss it. If Princess Consort targets you or takes her anger out on the team, you won't be able to compete properly. You child? Muronghui looked at her emotionally. However, I am still worried. Father, I think the Princess Consort is also secretly watching me. You don't have time to send me back now, so even if I go back now, I'm afraid I will only be hunted down. Sima Yue blinked. Are you sure we still want to continue discussing this topic? Muronghui's words were blocked by her. He shook his head and stopped persuading her to go back. In fact, she was right. There were people who had been paying attention to their situation. Once she left the team, she would immediately be killed by those people. Father, don't worry, Yuan Yin told me before leaving outside that Emoji will go to Great U City in 2 days. With him protecting me, you can focus on the competition, Sima Yue said. Besides, I'm not the same person who was bullied 2 years ago. Even if I reveal my strength, I'm not afraid of being targeted. Speaking of which, I don't even know how strong you are now. Muronghui looked at Sima Yue curiously. Although he could see that her aura was getting stronger, he couldn't see her specific strength. He didn't know what method he used to hide his strength. Well, you'll know when the time comes. Sima Yue did not intend to tell him about her strength. It was not because she did not trust him, but if she told him now, he would be frightened. This was too inconceivable for him. But the more mysterious she was, the more curious Muronghui was, and his heart was like being scratched by a cat. At this time, Murong Lin came in from the outside and looked at the two with a solemn expression. Master, Miss, there is a situation. Sima Yue and Muronghui both stood up. What's the matter? We are surrounded. Murong Lin said, the princess can't help but make a move. Does she want to go against Wangya? Sima Yue said in surprise, if she makes a move now, the whole team will be involved. If anything happens to the contestants participating in the region competition, how will she explain it to Wangya? According to the rules of the dynasty before the region competition, all contestants are protected. If anyone dares to make a move on the contestants, they will be punished by the dynasty. It seems that the princess's strength has improved greatly again, so that she can ignore the rules of the dynasty. Muronghui said. Or, her hatred for me is not unsuppressible. As soon as she learned that I left Vast City, she couldn't wait to send assassins over. Sima Yue said. Give the order, kill with all your strength. Don't think that we are really afraid of her. Even if today's matter is picked up in front of Wangya, it is still reasonable for us. Muronghui ordered. Yes, master. Murong Lin took the order and went out, telling the accompanying guards. Soon, the people who came to assassinate appeared, and those guards fought without saying a word. Sima Yue and Muronghui sat in the car and also worried about the outside, so they simply opened the door and went out. They were in mid-air at this time, and the rooms on 2 flying beasts had been destroyed, which showed the fierceness of the battle. Sima Yue felt the weight of the guy on her wrist, touched its head and asked, Do you want to play? Hei Yin flicked its tail. Go ahead. Be careful not to hurt the people outside. Anyway, those people already knew the existence of Hei Yin, so she didn't have to hide it. Hei Yin received the order and happily flew down from her wrist, and returned to its original body in front of everyone's surprised eyes. The huge black dragon made the whole sky dark. She really does have a black dragon. The assassins were not surprised to see Hei Yin, but when they saw that their people were destroyed by Hei Yan's dragon breath, they were surprised by her strength. Isn't he a young dragon? How can there be such a strong dragon breath? Was the previous news fake? No. Our news can't be fake. Could it be, it has grown so powerful in these 2 years? No, no. Hei Yin looked at the horrified people triumphantly and shouted, A group of ants also want to kill my contractor? What a whimsical idea. I will send you to hell now. It sprayed dragon breath several times at the assassins, and none of the people locked by it escaped. Then its huge body rolled up several people, and when it released they were already incomplete. And the people caught by its claws were almost torn in half by it. The guards of the Duke Manor had already retreated to their side. Seeing that Hei Yin almost defeated the assassins alone, they were scared. This is too powerful. Miss is so powerful. It's not Miss, it's Mrs. Contract Beast. It's so powerful. Sima Yu had always known that it was a warmonger. However, its battle prowess and destructive power had frightened her. Your black dragon has entered the mature period? It's only been 2 years. Muronghui was also shocked. No wonder Sima Yue didn't tell him about her strength. This black dragon's fighting power was too strong. If her contract beast was like this, then what about her? To what extent had she reached? You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.